Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area, in its naming significance, solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you. Hello, viewers. We are live on Facebook, and this is The Gray Area. This is your boy, Ray E.
This your boy, P. Wills. What's up?
We have a very, very interesting discussion for you guys tonight, and we have a returner, Dominic Dorsey in the building.
What's up, family?
What's happening?
With
What's happening?
Don't Sleep Organization.
Amen.
Coming off a big weekend, man.
Hey, this weekend was phenomenal.
Very phenomenal. Several different events. It started Thursday, pretty much?
Started Friday. And we had an event on Saturday and another event on Sunday. So this was our Liberation Weekend.
Liberation Weekend. There it is. Very successful. Good people out there. We have D. Ross, the Ross Foundation.
What's going on?
Doing some major things, corralling the community together. You've been on this mission for a couple of years now, man, and it's growing real fast.
Oh, yeah, it's going rapid.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My man Ace Williams,
what's going on?
A.K.A. Ace Project.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? You have a lawn care service?
Lawn care and household services.
Lawn care and household services. And basically you've been, and I want to talk to you specifically first because you've been out in the streets actually doing project cleanups.
Yes.
This isn't nothing new. You've been on a mission to help go to different households and different areas of the areas and do lawn care, fix it up, clean up trash, all that, and you've teamed up with Ron G.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron G couldn't be here this evening, but
Shout
you
out
guys
to Ron G.
you guys teamed up and have been out here in the streets doing this already.
Yeah, it need to be done. So we don't realize that we can't keep sitting around waiting on people to do it. We got to do it ourselves. We got to take it. It's our community, so we got to take care of it. And ain't nobody gonna take care of it like us because we live in these areas they don't. So they don't care about it like we do. It feels good to be in a clean community, just like it feels being in a clean environment. It's more relaxed. So I want people to be able to feel like they live more enough in the neighborhood instead of feel like they live inside the hood. So that's why I love cleaning it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What inspired you, man, to do that?
To clean up the neighborhood?
Yeah.
At first, it came with Ron G with the medians.
Mm-hmm.
We got to clean up the medians out there, and it's just like Ron passed and just seeing that it's like we need to clean this up. We have to clean up. We have to clean up our own area. And then D. Ross, he came to me with the abandoned houses. So when he came in with that, just like with us come together with all these, that's what we need to do. Come together on ideas and for like with our strengths. And he knew I already had the lawn care service. He had the ideas, so I had the people that could put it in action. So we went out there and we got to doing abandoned houses. We was doing meetings, and it was these houses that were people they just they didn't have the stuff to get their lawn care taken care of.
Right.
They didn't have the money for it. So me and D. Ross went out there. We did it for them just because it's our community. We got to take care of our own people.
Right.
We have to do that.
Wow,
so that's
man.
another thing that people fail to realize.
That's powerful, bro.
Yeah, because they feel like, well, it's the city job, so the city had to do it. But like, nah, they don't have to do nothing for us. But we should be able to always be there for us if nobody is.
Absolutely.
Man, what's crazy is that, I grew up off of 38th and Emerson, right?
Right.
So if you're at that light, if you're going east,
Yes.
like right on 38th, like there's a sign, there's like a green sign, and it says you are now entering a weed and seed community. And I mean, when like every time, I see that, I'm like, wow, I mean, they're saying like there's a lot of bad things here, but there's a possibility, man, for growth. So I mean, what you guys are doing shows that possibility. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that's rare, and just gathering what you just said. I mean, I could tell that you didn't have making money as the number one intent.
It's about the results that we can get from
exactly.
our community. It's about just seeing our community have just seen them more clean. It's that we get satisfaction off of doing that. It's not we're not in it for the money. We're not in it for the dollars. Some people is. We're not in it for that. We in it to really get out here and make a difference. That's why we in here. That's why we in this.
And I can just tell, man, by your passion for it, man.
Yeah, that's one. And that's what. And if you ain't got passion for it, you ain't gonna stay around long. A lot of people they hit and miss. Ain't nobody with it every day. Like I'm with this consistently daily. Like it's not just a one.
I'm with you.
It's not just a one time thing. Like you have to be consistent with this because we in a consistent oppression right now. We in a consistent environment where it's just bad for us. Where we consistent negativity. So we have to continue doing positive stuff and continue to be more productive in order to have some good results. Because if we just do it just one time and let up, then it ain't nothing gonna change. We have to keep applying pressure.
Yeah, and then by you guys doing that, man. Hopefully, the people in those areas, man, will see you doing it, and then they'll jump out, man.
And they do. They come out like even with me with just the lawn care. Like I pulled up around 42nd Post today, and there's some dudes that from I used to hang with. And they just like they wouldn't come out and do lawn care with me because they like I really don't. They out here doing stuff illegal, but they don't want to though. They like, you feel me? Like we close to you.
Most people don't want to,
so
live that lifestyle, man.
Yeah, it's like that. Now they feel like if they reach out to me, they know I ain't gonna judge them because I've been in their shoes. I know they like, we can work with bro and we making some little money. I ain't got to worry about nobody being all over my shoulder. It's legit money, and also it's with somebody that I know. It's not just no random person, somebody I know. And we gonna go out here, we gonna make some money and chill. I ain't got to worry about looking over my shoulder. I ain't got to worry about nobody in the streets, and I know I'm gonna have some money in my pocket. That's what they out here robbing for. That's what they out here hustling for money. So that's why I created the lawn care stuff for the youth to get them some money. You feel me? Because I figured if we can get them some money, that could cut down on youth violence. If we get them some money, because that's why they out here doing stuff that they doing for money. So we find a way to get us some legit money with legit hustles. Now they ain't got to go out and rob nobody. Now they ain't got to go kicking nobody's house. Now they ain't got to do none of that illegal stuff to get some money. So they can cut down a lot of that, even mass incarceration. It can cut down on that because now they not any case that I ever caught as a juvenile or even as an adult, any case I ever caught, I was trying to get some money. So I figured if I would have had somebody to be able to provide some opportunities for me to help me get some extra money, I wouldn't mind going doing the work. Just like they don't mind going doing the work. They want to do the work. They just need that. That opportunity provided to them.
Right. Yeah, structure and some assistance on
somebody to come out there to them because a lot of people they like for me come out here to me, but some of them they ain't got no way out there to you. So what about them? Like just like how D. Ross he went and gave people backpacks that didn't come to the book bag job. Some people can't make it out. So what about them? You can't forget about them. Some people they not able to make it. Some people they too young for jobs, so they can't get hired. Well, you can come out with me because I know
that's a good point.
You got these kids going through a lot of things. Like I just had a 14-year-old tell me yesterday that he trying to help his mother get an apartment because she got kicked out. So he like, I'm trying to come up with some money to help her get a place to stay because he stay with his auntie. So with him thinking like that could lead him to doing any kind of thing for some money. So, but luckily, he lived next door to me, so he know what I do. So he came to me with it like, for me, like, what can we do? So now he's out here, he cutting grass with me. We helping, we trying to get him, save him some money just so he can know like, well, I ain't got to go out here and do nothing legal for it. I got money coming in because like they going through real life situations out here, but people they don't know because they not even around for them to even reach out to. I'm out here for them to reach out to. I'm out here. They can knock on my door. They can call me right on. I'm out here because they know ain't no judging them and they know a lot of stuff I probably done been through myself. Or if I haven't, just like I understand and I know where this could go if I don't step in. So I always step in and do what I can to keep them from going to somebody else and getting some different advice and going to something that could eventually put them somewhere.
Put them in jail or something. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, man, salute, man.
Yeah, for sure,
man. That's
D. What are you doing with the abandoned houses? He mentioned that you guys teamed up, in discussion about that.
Yeah. Visual oppression is very real.
Okay.
Environmental stress triggers to a lot of mental health symptoms in our community.
Right.
So a lot of people not aware of the stress they carry, by just looking into your neighborhood, right down 42nd and Post, or right down 10th Street or 30th Street. That feeling of it looks nasty, so it's like,
right,
man.
Don't it? And not to cut you off, but I tell my kids this all the time. Like, if your room is junky, right, and you have company,
right,
you got stuff all over the floor. What you think your company gonna do?
add more
They're gonna
to
throw
it.
stuff on the floor too.
Exactly.
This is what's happening in our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You know, people drive by and throw bottles out the window.
Yeah.
It's
You know, throw
already out
trash.
there.
It's already out there.
Yeah.
Why not? This is the trash. This is the dumping grounds.
Yeah.
So we have to look at that different. Go ahead, man.
And they so normalized to it though. You know, they normalized to the condition. Like even when I was growing up, you know, we all littered outside. You know,
Sure.
we never
was
paid.
regular.
It
It
was
was
a
regular.
regular thing, so we never paid attention to taking a second and stop and pick up some trash. You know, until one day I'm just riding down 42nd. You know, seen trash on both sides of the streets on the outskirts of 42nd, and I'm like, man, this look too nasty.
Right.
Like I don't even want to ride down here. You
Right.
know, so what I did was organize a cleanup day.
Okay.
You know, I partnered with Keeping Indianapolis Beautiful. They helped give me supplies,
Nice.
whatever. And we had like 50 people come out from the community and help clean up the whole street from 42nd and Franklin and 42nd and Midhofer. And it looked better, but that's just one time, you know. So it needs to be continued, like
Right.
every week or every month, you know, because it got right back nasty like 2 weeks.
Right.
So having that better outlook, man, tackling the neighborhoods, clean up abandoned homes, because the abandoned homes we have did are in the communities of 42nd on the far east side.
Right.
And then they are on the outskirts of busy streets.
Right.
So when you ride past and you see the grass is 3 to 4 feet high, it look nasty.
Yeah,
Right.
it does. Yeah.
And it's filled with trash.
Yeah.
Right.
So, man, we took that agenda of getting out there with the youth, teaching them discipline, teaching them how to clean up their own neighborhood, you know, and then hopefully, you know.
Right. Right. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome that you're doing that, man.
Yeah, man. No, I was, I was going to say, man, my son, my oldest son, who was 6 years old, he was, we were at the park Sunday, and he was, had some chips, and like the trash can was like far off. He said, "Dad, can I just, throw this down?" I'm like, "Nah, man, you better run to that trash can,
Yeah.
So, and I remember being a kid and just, growing up, in that environment, man, was rough. So I would see trash everywhere. So some kind, I just threw, I saw trash, I'm eating chips or, whatever, pop, I throw the empty can or bag. But as I got older and started to really, understand that, we have to take accountability for our own neighborhoods, our,
We gotta,
so,
we
yeah,
gotta police our own neighborhoods, man.
exactly.
And, a lot of people don't, and it goes back to homeowners, too. Like, a lot of people don't know how to own a home, like, take care of a home. They get a home, but they don't know how to sustain it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
man.
Dominique, recently there was a situation, I don't know, I think it was up in Fishers, where, a guy just moved over there, within 2 weeks he got a letter that said, "Hey, we noticed you moved in the neighborhood. We keep our neighborhood clean. We don't know where you come from, but over here we keep it clean." Why do you think
Dude
there's
told him to go back to the ghetto.
tell him to go back to, so why do you think there's such a
No,
huge
that part was ridiculous.
Yeah, why do you think there's a huge stigma on black folks, and why we're treated differently in regards to our communities or whatnot? I mean, if you could go into a deeper discussion on that.
Well, it's interesting because I lived in a cul-de-sac and I got a letter like that myself. You know what I mean? That's
Wow.
happened to me twice.
Wow.
So in two different environments in two different neighborhoods, and I'm not in a super well-to-do area.
Sure.
But I'm not in a super hood either. You know what I mean? It's like, middle class, quote unquote, if there is one area. But you let your grass grow for a week and it's been raining all week and they like, "Oh, we take care of our homes over here. Why you ain't took care of your yard? Why you ain't keeping it up? You making our property value go down." And it's like,
Wow.
so y'all look at the one black brother on the block and pinpoint me for what I'm doing. Like, y'all got these tacky flowers growing in the front yard. Y'all got all this,
Yeah.
bright yellow paint on y'all house, and y'all want to call me out for not having
Right.
cut the grass. It's rained all week. So
Right.
I think it's a component of racism.
Okay.
Truly. I think it's a component of ignorance. I think it's a component of bias. They're looking for ways to say you don't belong here. Unequivocally, they want to find a way to make you feel as though as uncomfortable as you possibly can, and make you feel like you are under thumb, you are being policed,
Unacceptable.
you are being watched,
Right.
And that any misstep that you make, they're going to call you out on it. And everything that's been said before is absolutely correct. We tend to be products of our environment more often than we are products in spite of our environment.
Right.
So when you live in an area where it appears as though people don't care, you start to adopt an attitude where you don't care.
Right. Right.
So, as much as we can do individually to clean up our environments, we have to try to clean up our mindsets about taking some responsibility and ownership for the welfare of our environments, not just for ourselves, but for others, so that they can adopt a mindset where it's like, well, dang, you know what I mean? This gets all nice around here. I don't want to be the only one to throw a bag of chips down. Let me go ahead and pick mine up.
Right. When you drive through Fishers, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be the only one with a potato chip bag you just threw out the window.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying? Because you don't see no other potato chip bags.
The entire community of fishers will come and peek their head out the window.
Right.
Like, you better pick that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if you driving down Post Road, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you tell when somebody done dropped something when it looks like everywhere somebody done dropped
It ain't
something?
gonna matter, right?
Ain't
Who
gonna
gonna be the one to pick up that one piece of trash when, you know, it's like, how can you tell? Ain't nobody gonna just shuffle it back over
Right.
to the side.
Right.
So,
and also, man, it goes back to like the city. They pay contractors to cut the medians,
Right.
but they take 3 or 4 months to come back out and cut it again. Versus in Carmel, you can't go 3 weeks.
man, they
You
out
know.
there with scissors after every time the rain falls,
You
making
know.
sure it's exactly 2 inches high up off the, like, legit. That's real, though.
With the rulers.
With the rulers.
Yeah, seriously,
You know what's crazy is that how much talent do we have in our community?
Too much.
too much.
We got people that do landscaping, people that do concrete, that do brickwork,
People that do everything.
roads,
We could
that
do
do
a-
roofs.
Grow
But
food.
that's the village, man. That's the way it used to be. Like, I always laugh and tell people, like, you remember the Smurfs? They had a Smurf in the village that took care of
Everybody
everything.
did everything. Right.
You know what I mean? And you just knew that person to go to. We got those people in the hood.
Right.
You know, like, if your car break down, it's like, oh, man, I just
Always a mechanic.
Hey, you know,
His car don't never work.
get a
but he
six-pack,
can
he'll take
fix
care of you.
your car.
Get him a six-pack. Get him some Pepsis. But, you know, now we've got so many things that's working against us. We've got a culture of distrust. We've got a
Right.
culture where, you know, we don't want other people to know how bad we're doing because we don't necessarily have that community,
Right.
the unity
That's true.
aspect in the community.
That's true.
We don't want nobody, you know, admonishing our children. We don't want nobody telling us about our homes.
Right.
So, you know, you could have somebody say, hey, you know what I mean? I noticed you got some weeds growing on the side. Ain't nothing wrong with my house. Ain't nothing wrong with my weeds. Worry about your yard.
Right.
That can get you over, but don't nobody want to extend that help or take that. So there's a lot of things that we're combating against. But I think that this culture can evolve and turn into something beautiful if we keep it up.
Here's a question, man, for you guys, as well as our viewers. Thank y'all, man, for tuning in.
Yep.
Do y'all think during segregation that our areas were this bad?
No.
Listen, look, again, we had this conversation last time, man. Like, come on now. I think that integration was nothing more at this point than an opportunity to extend us and push us into an environment where we would be uncomfortable and take everything that was deleterious in white neighborhoods and push it into black areas.
Okay.
They just redistributed what they didn't see or that what they wanted to perceive was undesirable.
Right.
So, yeah, they moved us into these white schools that were supposedly better, but they also moved us into an area that where we're going to experience more trauma. Yeah, they let us move into these neighborhoods, but at the same time, you got hyper segregation where they leave us with none of the tools that would make us, you know, able to take care of it the same way that they did. So you
Right.
talk about people don't know how to own a home. You know how many people don't even own a lawnmower when they move into a house?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if the roof goes down, you know what I mean? They got just enough money to take care of the rent. They don't have enough money to put a new roof on the house.
maintenance.
So
Right.
when the maintenance thing starts to fall apart on the house, who do they have to fall back on? They still got to survive.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So there's all these components and things of that nature. When we were living in an area where they weren't necessarily watching us, where we could take care of our own, we had our own banks, we had our own everything. You know, if
Grocery
something was
stores,
wrong,
all that.
listen, you know, if you ain't have no credit, you could go to the store and they would loan it to you. They would let you float for a week until you got paid. Now
Absolutely.
we hit. Same
Right.
thing with our home, same thing with our yards. Like, I noticed you didn't get a chance to cut your yard. I went ahead and took care of it for you. Don't worry about
Right.
it. Just make sure next time you cook some peach cobbler, make sure I get a slice.
That's a good
Right.
point.
You know what I'm saying? It was that type of environment. We don't have that no more.
Right.
So since they made us, you know, oppositional in every way, shape, or form through integration and made it so that we distrust not just white folks, but black folks as well, we don't have the community environment that allowed us to sustain an environment that looked like we cared about it.
Right.
Yeah, and our perspective on politics also plays a part
Listen.
in that. Our perspective on politics, economics plays a part in that.
We got this mentality of good and bad Negroes, you know what I mean? Respectability, politics, who I will and won't speak to, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all siblings.
Right.
We all family.
Absolutely.
All of us.
But
Amen.
but everybody don't believe that. Everybody don't think that way. It's very much a Shark Tank. No necks. Everybody looking out
Right.
for themselves.
Right. Right. Fending for their own area, you know?
You dig?
And you know what's crazy is that, you know, we have to get into the mindset like no matter where we live at, you know, clean up not only your area and make your house look good, but make the house next to you look good. You know, offer them some service, see if there's anything you can do or anything that they need. You know, what I realized, like, you know, I live out in Brownsburg, and in Brownsburg, I'm not, you know, it's diverse. You know, where we are, I was very surprised that there's like more black people around me than I knew. You know, as the summer came around, I said, okay, I see. You know, 4 years later, you know, and I need to talk to my neighbors more. I'm very bad at that. I need to get better at that.
Me too.
You know, but the thing is I'm so busy trying to make sure that, you know, take care of my home and make sure it's secure and all that. You know, I have to forget about the people that live next to me.
Yeah, one thing that's the one thing when I learned you got to start in your community before you try to go out and save other communities. You want to start in your. That's one thing that I did. Like when I first moved to the neighborhood I live in now, like I moved out there, I seen the kids that had nothing to do, but they was all dribbling basketballs. So I went in my own pockets and bought a basketball court for them to see how they would generate to it. And a lot of kids, they was meeting kids in the neighborhood they never even knew lived over there because they was all coming to the basketball court to play basketball. But like I said, it was cheap, and I was just seeing like how many kids it was gonna generate. And now since that, I seen what it did. Now that I seen what it did, now it broke down eventually because the rain had been throwing down from the wind and stuff, and it was cheap. But now I'm working on getting 2 more because I know now they going to school and when they come home, they just all sitting around. They have nothing to do. But if they was at the court, they'd be there. They got a lot of energy. They kids, so to get them to release their energy out there, be more productive, just run around the neighborhood trying to find something to do. But I felt I had to start in my neighborhood before I even went out and trying to help somebody else's neighborhood. Because how can I go out and say somebody else, but mine is a mess itself. It's a lot of work that needs to be done inside of the neighborhood that I live in that people don't look at because they like, oh, well, this not a targeted neighborhood. But if you go in this neighborhood and see what they're going through, you be like, man, I would never knew. Because you don't go actually go into these neighborhoods and look around. The neighborhood I live in, it's not the hood, but you would think it was the way the park is, the way they got a pool that's been there, that's been closed for 3 years. Wow. They got they have no basketball court for them. They have nothing out there for the kids to do. So literally when they get out of school, they just pack up together, and then when they pack up together, the police in the neighborhood come around and tell them, y'all too deep. Y'all need to split up. They don't even want them being together.
We gotta change that, man. Like, you mentioned the pool thing. You know, how many people we know that work on pools? I mean, somebody knows somebody that knows something about a pool. And if we don't, let's corral together and go get that pool open in the summertime. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Kids love swimming. You know what I'm saying? And it's not always, and that's the problem in our society is that anytime there's 5 to 10 guys that are black in a certain area, you know, what are you guys doing? You know, what are you guys talking about? And this is the thing that we have to change, you know what I'm saying, individually, because for some reason over time it's been different. So what can we do? You know, what can we do to change that? One, and I'll say this myself, we need to not that we need to change how we dress, but we need to take in consideration that your pants definitely shouldn't be below your button. Yeah. Come on. I mean, I'm not saying that we have to change how we look because I love our swag. We have a swag about us that no matter how we dress, it's our thing. But we have to change like how we look in perspective, and respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Like your pants shouldn't be below your butt. That's really my only problem with our community that I feel like we should change. If you walking down the street, I seen a dude, I'm like, man, if you was to run or somebody was to chase you, you couldn't even get away. You couldn't get away because you would fall because your pants is too low. You know what I'm saying? And these are some of the things that they target when they driving down the street.
But some people, they don't care because whether their pants are up or down, they can still get harassed. Like some people, they just like, well, it don't matter to me. Like as long as I know I'm a black male, I'm targeted. Whether I got my pants up or down. So they feel like it really don't matter.
And it's true.
And the craziest part about it is you got white kids who dress the exact same way, don't get an nth of the harassment.
Yeah. Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, they bit our swag to the degree where everything that we do is to be counterculture, right? That's how we make stuff cool. If you're going to wear your pants up, I'm going to wear my pants down. You're going to wear your hat forward, I'm going to wear my hat back, whatever. And then they bite that, right? And then they bite it, and then they'll say that this fits the description of a criminal. This fits the description of somebody who's up to no good.
Right.
But they do the exact same thing, listen to the exact same music, go to the exact same stores, the same concert, wear the exact same clothes, but you don't care about them being in a group. You know how many white kids that dress just like black kids that be congregating in Castleton Square Mall and
but they call them groups, but we gangs when we do it.
And that's very intentional.
But you know what though, man? And the difference is, man, you know, Johnny and Susan, you know, they got a trust fund waiting.
Listen,
You
and
know
even
what
if
I'm
they ain't
saying?
got a trust fund, you know what I mean? It's one of those situations where it's like, well, they've got a future ahead of them. We don't want to mess up their future.
True.
You know what I mean? Like it's like with you, you're a black youth, you expected to go to prison before you what, 30? Supposed to be dead before you're 19?
I mean, nowadays before you're 25.
You did.
You know.
So like they don't. It's that whole. They discard us. They don't believe that we have value. That's that whole Black Lives Matter thing. It's like, you know what I mean? Your life doesn't really have a point or a meaning beyond this particular moment. You must be up to no good if you're in a group. I'm gonna stop you before you get to that point. They don't see the promise in black youth. That in itself is a problem. We got all these policies, we got all these procedures that they're trying to change within policing. There's nothing wrong with the policies and the procedures because they're supposed to work both ways. The practice is what's effed up.
Exactly.
Right.
It's how it's applied. So the same way that you apply things, the same way that you apply quote unquote justice on black folks, it applies to white folks the exact same way. If you're gonna break up 5 or more black people, every time I see 4.5 white folks, you need to do the exact same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think? And I think you mentioned something like this. I think I seen a post where you spoke on saying that when Black Lives Matter was created, it created all these other matters.
Oh,
you know,
man.
it wasn't all these everything mattered until that came. So, you know, could you dig deeper into what you meant when you were saying that?
Well, I mean, it's further discardment. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so the minute that we say we matter, it's like, oh, but blue lives matter. Or, oh, you know, like they said the Colts try to adopt something that matters. Everything matters all of a sudden.
All lives matter.
Oh, you know what I mean? It's all a distraction. So it's like if you can take the word black and remove it and replace it with all these other things, you don't necessarily have a problem with saying that all lives matter. You're not saying that all lives don't matter. We're saying that black lives are the ones that are continuously being disproportionately targeted by police brutality.
Absolutely.
We're the ones that are consistently being arrested through mass incarceration. We're the ones being sent to schools that are improperly adjusted to our needs. They're not equitably distributed in terms of the resources that we need. We're placed in food deserts. You continuously act as though we have no value. But yet and still you want to talk about everything else that matters, but none of those other things are facing the same levels of oppression that we are. We're trying to get you to pay attention to us, and you're taking that same narrative, the narrative that we're using to raise our voice to say, look over here, to ignore us.
Right.
How ironic is that? You know what I mean? So again, it just further indemnifies the society and the culture to say, you know, no matter what we do, you're going to do everything within your power to say that we're of no consequence.
Right.
So we're going to continue to raise our voice.'re just going to point out how hypocritical you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and why is it when it comes to us, you know, we are supposed to just like shut up. I mean,
Right.
I mean, whenever we have an issue with something or something goes on, it's like, hey man, you know, all right, look, leave that in the past or, you know, let it go. But no one says that, man, to the so-called Jew. Every year when there's a Holocaust, what was it
You
called?
don't even
The
have to
Holocaust
go
Memorial.
that far. You could go never forget 9/11.
Yeah, never,
Right.
yeah. So
Never
it's like
forget
every
9/11.
year they have something on that. But when it comes to us, nothing. You know, we are supposed to just let things go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I need somebody to describe that. Like, this is my problem with that logic. Is like, how do you get over something if you haven't got to the root of it? And
Exactly.
and if you don't acknowledge when you get to the root of it, then you'll never get to the end result. So to keep saying stop talking about it, to keep saying, you know, why now people are being victimized. Now they're feeling victimized, or you're attacking me. You always bring up the race card. I don't think people understand that the race card wouldn't be pulled if we didn't eliminate everything on the list that wasn't about race.
because you know, here's the problem. You know, just to, you know, piggyback off what you're saying, because, you know, I tell these men, to my white counterparts, man, friends, you know, I'm like, listen, if you have an issue with somebody and you never address that person, what do you think is going to happen every time you see that person and interact with them? It's going to keep building up, right? So anything that person does, they can do the smallest thing, and you're just going to blow up. White people, black people, listen, there have always been these issues there. Why not just have a conversation? I mean, we have the platform for that. I mean, you are more than welcome to come. Let's have the conversation. Let's talk about these issues, man, because I think that could be the start to trying to mend certain stuff to so we could, you know, understand each other's perspectives and try to make things better. But if people are afraid to have these conversations, it's not going to work.
I think that they're afraid to give up their victimhood.
I hear
Explain
you.
that.
But
Like,
yeah,
so you know what I mean? That whole, you know, well, I've experienced reverse racism. You know how many times black people have looked at me differently or talked to me? I've been called a honky before.
Yeah.
Listen, like, once you get to a point where you followed around in the store all the time, or once you get to the point where you fear every time you see police officers in your rearview mirror, you know what I mean? Once you get to a point where you feel as though your family, your entire existence has been targeted, then you can start talking about systemic oppression, but you can't start talking about racism because white people cannot experience racism. Let's just get that out of the way. You know what I mean? Racism.
why not?
Because it's prejudice plus power. Black people don't have the same level of power that white people have. There's a reason why we have this terminology called white supremacy. You know, the same mentality that caused, you know, Europeans to decide that they wanted to take over the globe and expand and increase their territories and things of that nature. We were captives. We were commodified. We're still commodified. You know what I mean? We have never been in a position where we had the majority of the power in the country to make those types of decisions and to put policies in place that oppress other people.
Right.
We just don't. You know what I mean? We can be business owners, but there's still going to be somebody who's a bigger business owner than us. We can be politicians, but there's still going to be somebody who's a bigger politician than us. We can have a gun, and there's still going to be somebody bigger with bigger guns. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't have the power to influence or oppress other individuals the same way that white people have in society. They're not even the majority, but they're still the dominant quote-unquote culture. So until there's a situation or a place in time where anybody else other than white, straight, cisgender, heterosexual men are the quote-unquote lawmakers, the ones, the tastemakers in society and things of that nature, they're going to continually oppress everybody else beneath them, quote-unquote.
Okay.
So they can't turn that and flip that around on us because I can say that I dislike you. I can be biased against somebody white. I can be, you know, prejudiced against somebody white, but I can't be racist. I can't put a system in place that will oppress white people. That's not something that I can control.
Right. What do you say to people who say, you know, you guys can all chime in on this. What do you say to people that say, well, I'm white and I don't understand how I'm privileged? You know, there's a lot of people like, well, I grew up in the hood, or I grew up in this and that.
I wish Brandon Randall was here. Shout out
Brandon,
to
you got to come holler at us, man.
Because he had to check somebody the other day on that. He asked somebody was running for a political seat, you know what I mean? And she said as part of her political platform that she was going to address systemic racism. He's like, how are you going to do that? Like literally just sat up like, explain this to me. She didn't even understand her privilege. So he was like, you know, do you have white privilege? She said, on occasion. He's like, no, you have white privilege every single day. Every single day. Every time, and it's little stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you got D. Ross driving down the street in a nice vehicle, he may get pulled over just on the strength of he's a black man in a nice vehicle. A white kid in a nice vehicle, it's like, okay, you must have got that for a 16th birthday present. You know, have a good day. D. Ross, oh, he must have knocked somebody over and took that car. There must be some drug money in that car.
Right.
So it's the stigma that's attached to him being a black man in a car in an area that he shouldn't be in. The same thing that happened to, you know, those black folks out there in the burbs who was told that, you know, they need to go back to the ghetto and they must not know how to take care of their crib. If it was somebody white, it's like, is everything okay? You know, we noticed that you hadn't cut your lawn. Is there something wrong? Can we help?
How you address
It's
it.
a completely different, but that's their privilege.
Right.
That's the privilege that society has granted to them, that you will give excuses to one and you will give no justifications to the other whatsoever. You look for every reason to prove that we're criminals and no reason at all to prove that we're in the right.
Right.
We don't have that privilege.
Right. Right. That's good stuff, man.
That's
So
good
so here we are in a stage where we're not getting the help that we need to make our communities look great or feel great. You know, liquor store, spirits, community liquors on almost every other corner. You know, how do you get in these neighborhoods? How do we get into these neighborhoods and build them back up?
Get in
What must we do?
Get in them.
Thank you.
Like you said.
No, I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, like you sat there and said, like that's why people they overthink it and they don't know that you just said it right there.
Right.
We got to get in them. We can't be outside the neighborhoods talking about what we gonna do for them. We don't know what they need. We can't just be.
That's the problem.
We can't just go putting stuff in people's neighborhoods and they don't need it. They don't be like be a part of that for what? I don't need that. You need to figure out what they because you might be like, oh, well, I'm gonna just put this laundromat out there for his neighborhood. They might not want a laundromat out there.
Right.
They might want a grocery store out there, but you would never know because you never even asked the people that live in that neighborhood.
Right.
That's what they do. They just put stuff in his neighborhoods and don't even know nothing about what these people even going through and if this could even benefit them.
Right.
And that's one of my problems with a lot of organizations. You know, they try to put together and implement something inside a neighborhood they never go into.
Right.
Listen,
And
Right.
that's
All the time.
call them out. Call them out. We ain't got- we ain't
so and us, we still in the community, so we grassroots and we still connected to our people, so we protective
Right.
of our people. So it's hard to separate the phonies from the real.
Right, right. How and we look at it from this perspective. Okay, so I'm not calling anybody out. I'm solely putting out perspectives.
Okay.
Latinos come in the city and they team up
Build.
and they buy a block,
Right.
or two, or three. It might take them. They might start with that one corner store, but by 3 or 4 years later, they got the whole block. And respectfully, they're doing it the right way.
And the whole block
and
supporting
they
them.
hold each other, and they're coming out and they're buying from the store and everything. We have to not only get out there, but we have to start getting educated on finance, ownership, buying land, owning land. You know what I'm saying? Like it gets so much deeper. Understanding finance, understanding your credit, because all these things will get us in a position where how can there's another perspective. Africans, okay? Africans, Russians, Indians can come to this country, get a credit, get a grant, get what they need, open a store, and are very successful at it. We're right in these same areas, right in the same area. Why don't we have the same opportunity? I think we live in a country where we can absolutely go out there and get that now. Like, we need to stop making excuses for each other and, like, not only get out there, but, like, educate ourselves on getting into the finance.
And actually support each other when we go
Absolutely
out there.
support each other.
That's one thing that you see with them, like, the mess they support each other. Like, you guarantee if they ever do get sent back, they probably gonna make saying like down there. It's
doesn't
sweet
matter.
down there.
Yeah.
They probably think we go down there, we can go down there and build a whole business. We get down there, we could build plenty of them. So they go there saying they lazy down there. They don't want to get up. They don't even want to learn about it. So that's one thing like you said, we have to educate ourselves and also our people. We can't, because some people they want to educate themselves, but they don't want to educate their people. They want to lead them. They want to lead them method. So we got to figure a way to where we got a platform to educate our people on what we trying to do and what we can all do together.
Right.
And it's too much separatism. A lot
Right.
of people doing things for self.
Right.
So people don't want to, if they working on similar projects together. Similar projects like own businesses, like a mechanic. You got a mechanic in the neighborhood, but you got another mechanic on the other side of the neighborhood. But they so selfish in their mindsets, they don't want to come together and create a whole mechanic business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that people take knowledge and use it as a weapon. So if I know how to do something and I don't share it with you, then that's going to make sure that I sustain my position as opposed to us elevating together.
Run across a lot of people like that daily.
Man, and you also got a
Some
couple
of
of
the
other
elders.
issues. You got to
Yes.
listen. We got that hold up instead of a handoff thing every day, but we can get back to that. So when you talk about how risk adverse black folks are, they'll put money in a mattress or in the freezer before they'll put it in a bank in many instances. You talk about the number of individuals nationwide, not just black folks. How many of them even have $1,000 in their bank account at any given time? You know what I mean? So when you're talking about purchasing something, it would require, a consortium of some sort to get people together to purchase something. But then it's like, okay, well, who's the owner? You know what I mean? Who going to get to be the chief then?
Yeah.
Like, we got those types of issues within our family.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
But you know what I mean? Even at that aspect, then you got to think about how many people have good enough credit to even put their name on the application.
Right.
You know how many people put utilities in their kids' names and don't give them a fighting chance when they start? They go to apply for a credit card and it's like, oh, well, you've got Citibank on here and you've got
You've been
Chase.
grinding
you got,
since you was 7.
you know,
You know what I'm
like,
saying? Yeah.
Literally.
For real.
the minute you get a social security number, they got all this stuff in your name because they
Right.
overdid them or overextended themselves. So I absolutely agree that we need to start increasing education, but we can't leave those who have gotten into this pit behind. We have to find a
Absolutely.
way to help them get out,
Absolutely.
find a way to help them rebuild their credit. It's really going to take this whole Sankofa mentality of looking forward, but also reaching back.
Right.
So we got to help these people who have some way, shape, or form, through no fault of their own or through the fault of others, got
For sure.
themselves in a position where they're not financially or fiscally responsible.
Yeah, man. I mean, great points. And then, the people that you guys name that come over here, they have a sense of where they come from. So they look at this, this culture as a way to make more money. So what is like $1 value in Mexico? Like $1 is what, like like 10 there.
Talking about the exchange rate.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you.
I mean,
10 cents on a dollar.
yeah,
I know the
yeah,
dollar's
or something
stronger.
like that.
I know the
Yeah,
dollar's
dollar's
stronger than the
strong,
peso, but
You can ball out in
It's
Cancun.
way stronger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, they come over here, they're like, you know what, man, we can do, like, so they'll come over here 5 deep, and I'm not trying to be funny. They'll pack one car up, like, they'll get a 1-bedroom, and then they'll all work different shifts, and they'll save their money up. And on top of that, man, you know, like, they're bilingual, which makes them more valuable than us in a sense. And now they have all of this money, so now they're starting businesses, man, and then they'll send money back home, and, you know, things like that. So we only have a sense of this because we have been brainwashed to say, hey, leave the past in the past, don't look back there. But if we start looking at our history prior to the whole slave trade, we will know way more, and that's where our history starts at. Slavery.
Absolutely.
What about us before that?
Right.
So I mean, it's just it's a
take
vicious,
education,
it's crazy.
and people in every day, and we had another conversation about this on the show, is that if you could just educate people on who they are, simply who they are and where they come from, not slavery. Slavery is not the beginning of African. It's like, you know, you talk to most black people that either live in the hood or have no education, you'll find out that slavery is the landmark. That's where, Africa, or they say Africa. And it's like, do you understand that black folks are in every country? There are Asian black people, Latino black people, Dominican black people, Russian black people are everywhere.
you know
And
how
they
many people think
originated
Africa
from
is
there.
a country? Like legit.
Yeah.
Like they
A lot
don't
of
even know
them
that
do.
there's countries within Africa.
A lot of them
Right, it's
think
a
that, though.
continent.
It's, you know what I mean? That in and of itself is a problem. But
Right.
we got to look at our institutions. How
Absolutely.
many of our schools teach that?
Yeah.
Right,
Like, we
the
teach
proper
that.
way.
But
right.
but you saying, but you may have a 1 or 2 black instructors that'll do that. That'll
Right.
make sure that they give
Sure.
you that knowledge.
Sure.
They'll give you the game. But I've been talking to people. I talked to Brandon Cosby. You know Brandon.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bree Cosby.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We talk about stuff like that all the time. Like I talk to the folks in my organization. It's like, you know, what would it look like if we started our own school to give knowledge back to our kids the way
Right.
this should be given?
That's
to
what
them?
that's what it should be done, because a lot of these kids, they get into school and they in these schools like that's not designed for them, and it's teaching them the stuff that it's filling their head up with so much information that they're not gonna use. A lot of them they don't use the information that they get. They don't, and they're not getting the right information. They're not getting life skills inside of these schools is what they need, because a lot they getting out here in the real world and they not prepared. They leave college and they still not prepared for the real world because they never got them life skills in school. They still don't know how to manage money. They leaving school with just this piece of paper and don't know what to do with it. You just spent all these years, and now you like, I don't even want to learn about nothing else, because all these years I feel like I've been learning and got nothing out of it. So they just like they just going with the flow. So we gotta get to where we know once you leave school, like you put in a place to where you had a mindset to where you can actually go out here and do something. You should be doing something before you even get into school. Because a lot of people, they go into school for things that they don't even use.
Right.
And so you should. That's why I start with the youth young. I want to start with them young and figure out what they want young. So if he say he want to be,
and create those options.
because if he say he want to be,
yeah.
if he say he want to be a rapper, but then he get into it and see like, man, I don't want to do that. I'd rather him figure out right now than when he later on in life. I'd rather him
Right.
figure out right now. I really don't want to cook. I just like doing it, but it's not nothing I really want to do. So since we know you don't really want to be a cook, let's figure out what you really want to be good at. Instead of waiting until you spend all this money going to college, now you spend all this money. Now you feel like you forced to do this. Now you just spent 2 years when you could have been building on something else. So and a lot of they really going to college and they getting these degrees and not even using them at all. They got 3. They ready to go get a degree, then go get another one that has nothing to do with the first one. Because they just bouncing all around all over the place, spending money, and they not finding themselves because they just getting all this education, but they not getting no type of real hands-on activity, not getting no experience in these fields. So they need it. You know, when you file for a job, they don't ask how long you've been in school. They ask how much experience do you have. How many years have you been doing this? So experience is what people need. They need to actually get out here in this world and see what are they good at. People need to promote themselves more, put themselves out there more, because people are like, I'm good at something, but they don't know the feedback that they get, so they never even put it out there. They're like, I know I can sing, but I don't know about putting it out there, because they've never did that. But once we get to put our own people, like with the talent shows and stuff, putting our people out there and seeing what do you actually like, what do you actually want to be. That's what we need to figure out. Not when they 20s or 30s. We need to figure out why they young. So then we can start building them on that while they're young. Now they can turn that.
Points, man.
And now they can turn that into eventually a business. You don't have to be nobody want to be a warehouse worker all their life. This is not what you went to school for. So why are you doing this? You need to be doing what you want to do. That's what you need to be doing with your time. You need to be building your dream and not somebody else's. But a lot of these kids, they out here, they don't even know what they want because they never even got to experience nothing.
So know that they don't have to be entertainers. Yeah. You ain't got to be dribbling a ball. You ain't got to be a singer. You ain't got to be a rapper. Man, there's so much more out here for us. But you know how many kids ain't even been outside the loop?
Exactly.
We got kids that ain't even been to Mass Avenue, let alone Chicago, let alone Cincinnati. Like, and these are people. These are states that
never left Indianapolis.
Never been nowhere. Don't know nothing.
So what do y'all think is going to change that mindset?
We got to take them and show them things.
They inside a box right now.
Okay.
You know, growing up on 42nd and Post, I never came past Chalon. So I didn't go. Harville was a different city to me. You know, Avon was a different state. So you know, until I started leaving my situation, you know, and exploring and seeing the culture in different states. I went to Oakland. You know, just going to Oakland by itself,
absolutely,
man, would do so much to you.
Yeah, you touched on Ace. You touched on something very important because you know when the kids do go to school, a lot of them have grown people problems.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so when they're looking at weighing school education, my brother and sister don't have food to eat. You know, they're faced with things that make no sense when it comes to education. So this is why we need more teachers and more people to a facility. You know, shout out to the new charter schools that are coming out in 2018. I want you guys to get with them. You know, they were on our show a few weeks ago. But, you know, building facilities like this with people who understand how to educate African American kids is very vital to American culture. I mean, America's going to continuously always have this problem with black people if they don't put the things in place that we need to help our youth thrive and be better. We can't learn the systems that are applied right now are not, they're not working. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you drop off half education and just show them a little bit of that education in themselves. Now you got a person growing up in life not understanding who they were and where they came from. Because at some point you're going to get to an age where you say, well, something ain't adding up. You know what I'm saying? Why I'm being treated like this? Why people treat me like this? Why people look at me like this? And you start digging. You say, oh, that's what happened. Oh, it's still happening. You know, now you have an adult person furious because they didn't know the stuff that they could have learned at a young age and could have possibly done something to help have a better future.
That's why I can't with this when I get this youth library together for them to go and dig for that information. I want them to be able to. I want them to have a hunger for digging for that information and also just be to learn about that because the education is important, but also your history is important too. And I want them to know that because some people they feel like, well, what does that have to do with me? But if you understand, if you look back then and see what our people have accomplished and achieved, and like they've been keeping data on that, so we need to keep data on that. We need to go back and look at that too because they know we're capable of. That's why they want to keep us down. But if we can get our people to understand what they're capable of and is capable of what we are of coming together, then that's what we need to show our youth that we come together, we could accomplish a lot more. So that's why I want to get the youth library. I want to when I get that going, I want to make sure that they understand this. I didn't get all this and keep it. I want to get all this to pass down to y'all. I want us to all be on the same page together. I want us to all be able to come together. Now y'all know this information. Now y'all can pass it to friends. Now y'all can pass it down as y'all get older. It's something that a lot of people they die with information that they never teach. They never ever taught. A lot of people they die with experience they never showed nobody else. They kept it to themselves. But I feel like that's where we go wrong at. People want to hold it. They don't want to pass nothing down. They don't want to come together with other people and show them their skills. They want to just keep it to themselves. And that's one thing we got to work with as a community.
Good points, man.
We can't just I'm good at this and I'm gonna just keep it to myself. Because if something happened to you, then we want somebody to be greater than you. We want people to keep being good.
It's part of leadership. You show people what you learn, and then you hope that they take that and then teach to other people and other people. The problem is that train stops today.
And that's what's missing. That's what's missing.
Somebody get all the information and all the money, and then they just stop.
They stop. They don't
want
want
to
to
be selfish with it and greedy.
Well, they got a misunderstanding of what a legacy is. Like, so people think that their legacy is if you started something and then when you're no longer around, it died. So that means that you must have been great at what you did because it couldn't survive without you.
Right.
When a legacy is actually when people take where you left off and they take the baton and take it higher than you ever could.
Thank you.
We stand on the shoulders shoulders of giants so that we could see farther than they could faster.
Jay.
There's a purpose for it. So, the whole concept of saying, okay, you learn something, you teach it to someone else so that they can, that it's the village that's supposed to be achieving something. It's not just for yourself. It's not just for your last name. Yeah, you're supposed to give something to your kids, but you're supposed to give something back to your community.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Folks died so that black people could achieve.
Right.
America don't like it when Negroes are too free.
Right.
The most revolutionary thing that we can do is control our own ish. Period. So that means our own schools, that means our own institutions, that means our own resources, that means trades. You know what I mean? Ebony made a perfect point. We tell everybody to go into college. Folks need to be able to work on plumbing.
Right.
Folks need to be able to do lighting. Folks need to be able to do construction. So when we're talking about these issues and the front porch is broken in somebody's house,
Those are skills.
that's when you know to go call on Leon, because he just got out of school for learning how to do
Absolutely.
construction. But we don't tell nobody to do that. Everybody's not, wanting to be an engineer. Everybody's not wanting to go into nursing. Some people legitimately are just good with their hands, and they get paid well to do it. But we make them feel like menial labor like that is beneath them, so they don't pursue it.
Right. How many talented people do we know who are great at what they do, but don't understand how to channel that into a business?
Man,
I know
So many people.
I mean, you got to
so
think.
many,
You
man.
got to
No
think.
one
That's
has-
anybody out there that's selling drugs. That's entrepreneurs. They entrepreneurs right there. So you put some. You can go out here and sell the drug to just a random person walk to the gas station. Then you can get up here and get you an actual.
You can be a
product.
salesman.
Exactly. You can be a salesman. So you can get you a product to get out here and sell. So them is entrepreneurs. We have many entrepreneurs in the hood right now.
and they definitely could be investors, because if you're not afraid to go to jail for selling a product, then you definitely not afraid to put your money into something that could potentially get you a gain
Exactly, man. Great
or
point.
loss.
Great point.
Absolutely.
Also, you could be a chemist.
Yeah.
A lot of people good at these pills and identifying the milligrams and doing the math of that.
Come on,
Mixing
with it.
stuff up.
And we are not condoning that lifestyle.
You
by
know,
the way.
We
but-
saying you can use it in a positive
But
way.
you could
Absolutely.
they don't know how to channel the legal to the legal.
Right. And in all of this and everything that we're talking about is the root cause of why we are where we are. But things are changing, man. I see it every single day, especially in Naptown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If Naptown ain't woke, I don't know who woke. If you ain't ran into nobody yet that's got it together, that's teaching you something, I don't know where you live at. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, I mean, and there's still work to do, but things are slowly changing. But so now we get into the root of it. We understanding why our neighborhoods lack certain things. We understand why it's hard for people to clean up their own neighborhoods and to get out there and work together. Times are changing. All of that needs to be changed right now. We need to corral together. We need to put together the units, and they don't need to just stop here. You can put a packet of people together in your neighborhood and start building it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we're having this discussion tonight because we want you guys to understand that it starts with us. We cannot wait on people to come to our neighborhoods and hope that they're going to clean it up, hope that a politician is going to give some grant money. Who's going to do it?
We have
Even
to
if they
take
give the grant
accountability.
money or money to someone to do it, they're going to do it half-assed. Because why? Because the neighborhood still looks like crap.
It's gonna go 3 to 4 months.
Exactly, 3 to
Or
4
longer.
months.
Yeah, and also, man, they don't live in those environments.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
They
they
not-
don't
they not-
understand that.
They don't care.
They're not always around to
Exactly.
even clean it up.
And then they got so many other contracts to do, so they don't
Yeah.
really just, in
Absolutely.
particular, belong to that property.
It's out of
Yeah,
sight,
you know
out of
it-
mind. I've been asking for the longest time. I had this conversation with Brandon. I don't know, and this is like, again. So we think about that next phase. We think
Right.
about everything. It kind of comes to an end. It comes full circle. Then you have to think about how you can make it greater. There's
Right.
no reason why these companies, the state, even can't give a contract to Ace Project to do landscaping for all
Right.
these abandoned
Absolutely.
homes, for all these abandoned buildings. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can give youth jobs. They keep talking about the youth problem. The youth told you what they want. They want jobs. They want
Right.
to work.
Right.
And they don't want penny ante jobs. They
Right.
compete for the same jobs that we competing for. You know what I mean? You standing in line at Sprint trying to get an application in, and there's somebody behind you that's 16 years old is trying to do the exact same thing.
Right.
Because they got real world problems.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? They got to make sure the lights is on. I had a kid who's 10 years old asking could he pump my gas because he's trying to help his mom pay the rent.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's the reality that we have here. So the communities know what the issues are. What they lack is the tools to address them.
Right.
The tools to address them and the resources are out there, but they're not within reach of the people who need them most.
Right.
So even when you're talking about folks that need backpacks, they don't have no rides to go get the backpacks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you
Or
talk
have a way to know what the location is.
listen, folks want to get to work, they can't get to work because ain't no bus line where they live.
Right.
So it's stuff like that. So then we have to look at ways. It's like, okay, we need a bus route. The bus company says, I was talking to Donnell Howard a while back, and he was like, we're trying to get a bus stop placed over here. They said it costs X amount of dollars. They ain't got the money for it. The community can't get together to put the money together to buy it. You know what I mean? So we have to think outside the box to find ways to get things done. Everything that we've accomplished,
Community church.
Yeah, we can.
Exactly. We have accomplished so much because we did it on our own. We stopped accomplishing much when we started relying on everybody else.
Right. And this is why our churches need to be a vital part of what's going on. And there's a lot of great churches out there. Shout out to Turning Point. Turning Point is one that we know for sure is in the streets, in the gutter over there, really working it out, trying to get people pulled up out of there and helping them out and helping the neighborhoods out. But the church, I mean, you said bus route. The churches got buses.
Churches
got buses. I know they got problems.
minivans, they got
Churches
all
got
that, man.
money.
Hey,
They got
But
They
you know
have
what's-
money.
True story. I was talking to Brandon Cosby. He was telling me about this church that had a food pantry, and they had this woman and her child. They were waiting for food. They were obviously hungry. They was in the food pantry to pick up food. Don't you know that they would not let them leave with that food till they sat there and prayed with them for 15 minutes?
Wow.
It's almost like they had to go through a hazing
It was an
process to get
obligation.
access to the food. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
you've created access to resources into this hierarchy of you must do this, do as I say. You know what I mean? You can't beat people over with
that's
the head
bad
with a rock.
logic.
That's
It
extremely
is.
bad logic.
So it's,
You
still
show
not,
them
it's not even really open
You
to the
teaching them
community.
to pray.
you dig what I'm saying? You show them love, the love of Christ,
touch
and that's
on
what
that.
brings them.
Touch on that.
Now I'm saying it can't. It's not really open to the community because you got to think. What if what if they was Muslims and they hungry, but you saying I got to do this just to eat, but it's like this is not what I believe in. So why do I'm hungry? Why can't you just look at we in the same community?
Right.
We should
That's
be
a
here
good
building
point, man.
community whether I pray or not. You should be out here to help people out.
Right.
That's the good and the bad.
They're getting their numbers up. They need their
That's a good
membership up. They need, you know what I mean? Like, folks, it gets back to your point. Folks doing stuff for the wrong reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? You think in your head that this makes sense. It's like, I want to pray for you. But you can pray for them when they walk out the door. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
ain't got to have
Absolutely.
them to be
Absolutely.
indoctrinated in order to get access to resources.
And also, man, that's a problem when they doing outreach work. You know, going into the neighborhoods and talking to the people on the corner. You know, they trying to recruit instead of trying to help them out and find out what barriers is causing them to be out here on these corners.
Yeah,
So- so-
absolutely. No, I know what you're talking about. Let's talk about that for a minute. You know, because we've invited some of these organizations to come on here and really discuss and help us understand what's happening, because as a community, we know that there's an allotment of money available to help build communities.
Call them out.
But the community, the funds are not being properly applied to said organization. Okay, you had an organization, right? And your organization has the capacity to help 100 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 5,000 other people that you need to help, and you have the money to do that. What are you going to do?
help them.
Yeah, you're going to help them, but aren't you going to call other organizations and team up with them and say, hey,
Yeah,
you know, our organization
Nope.
is...
Nope.
That's what you
Nope.
should do.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know-
mean, it goes back to that ownership piece.
Right.
You know, a lot of people want to own too many projects.
Right.
So they don't want to reach out to unite resources and services.
Right.
So if you run out of services, that person lose out.
Right. So we're hanging on to money that can be applied to other organizations that
Right.
can further your reach.
Right.
Now you're building partners.
Right.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
these people want the praise.
They want the praise, and they want to be able to say that they're the solitary savior. You know what I mean? Like, I'll call them out. I have no beef. I have no qualms.
for
you know what I
sure.
mean? Like, so you got an organization like 10 Point, right?
Okay.
So you got 10 Point Coalition out here in the community and things of that nature. They'll tell you, verbatim, we don't go places that we're not invited. They'll tell you that the work that they've
What does
been
that
able-
mean?
That means that even though that they recognize that there's a citywide crime problem, but they're saying that they have an efficacy-based model that is giving them money, that's giving them recognition by the FBI and all these other places they want to take this nationally. You want to take a program nationally that you can't take citywide?
Wow.
They don't want to mess up their funding.
Turn down the money. It ain't worth it.
Exactly. So explain this to me. You want to take something nationwide that you can't apply in any other neighborhood but a 4-block radius?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
makes no
something's
sense.
wrong there. So
Yeah.
you're not telling the whole story. You're not telling the story of all of the community people who live in the neighborhood who did the work to clean it up as a community, and that's the real model that we need to be implementing. Not a whole bunch of people in $3 neon vests.
Right.
You get $50,000, have a $250 a plate dinner, invite people for a VIP that's $25,000, and you mean to tell me that all that money can't go towards providing resources in these other
Right.
communities?
None of the
In
right people are
ACES,
gonna pay for that.
These neighborhood. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so when you talk about these other organizations that could benefit from money, that could benefit from resources, that could benefit from help, you know what I mean? And then you have this identified cult of personality around this one particular religious figure and the individuals who follow him like acolytes, and that prevents anybody else from being able to be seen because they're shouting over them.
Right.
So you have people who are on the ground in the community doing the work that can't get any of the shine, can't get any of the recognition because everything is focused on them.
Right.
That's a
right.
problem.
And it's adding to oppression.
And this is what I think is a huge problem, and I want to speak to my older generation of people. You know, the people that are before or what was before us. Okay, technology's changed, times have changed, a lot of things have changed. The old logic on how the older generation gets in touch with the youth is no longer relevant. I'm just going to say that it's no longer relevant. That doesn't mean that we recuse anything that you're saying or say that it doesn't mean anything. Everything that you say means something. It's just that we have to figure out a different way to attack crime, to attack going to the neighborhoods. I feel like a lot of the older generation, in reference to some of the 10-point members or leaders, a lot of them hold on to the logic that they understand how to go into the communities when they don't. These times are different and changed. The crime rates are growing faster than ever. That tells you right there that it's not working, and that's not knocking. We're holding organizations accountable. I think people get that confused with hating or not supporting. No, we're holding people accountable. You're accountable for yes, because if nobody's holding you accountable, then you can't be better, right? If you live in a house and you doing wrong and everybody's supporting you doing wrong, you don't know you doing wrong.
Exactly.
So you need other people outside the house. Somebody probably outside the house going to tell you, hey, you doing wrong. You know, you might look at that, oh, that's just one person. You got another person, you doing wrong. Oh, man, these people tripping. Another person, you doing wrong. Man, why are these people hating on me? This is the logic. This is the logic that they have instead of listening to people saying, look, we have organizations available right now that can help you be better. If you can't tell us what you're doing with the money, because we know what we can do with the money, and we can help you implement some programs and projects on what you can do with that money.
There's
you know?
no
And
reason why you get $180,000 and your 990 has that many zeros on the line item.
Right. Right.
And bottom line, man, your job is to serve the community. So
Right.
if you're not listening to what the community wants, then
Especially the generation coming
pointless.
behind you, because we understand the youth. I hate to say that, but we understand what these youth are going through, and it's not saying that we may not be able to do it better, but we can do it together. Okay, we
gotta
can
have
take
them-
your
you gotta have
logic,
them at the
take our
table.
logic, and we're gonna attack this youth and get them where they need to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Closing the door and saying that, they tripping, they need to go ahead. Oh man, I was listening to the live feed, and I mean, I don't think they knew the mic was on. You know, and
And that's crazy. Like
Which
when it was
one?
off air. Like,
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
feed,
when-
man, which
man,
feed was this?
So Harrison has his own show.
Okay.
Right. On shout out to HB on radio. What is it? Radio Next.
Radio Next.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
has his own show, and we was unbashful about it. It's like, you know what I mean? Where's the receipts? Show us what you're doing. Like, you inviting Mike Pence to town? Come on now. You're supposed to be representing the black community. You bringing the one political figure. Not only did we try to kick him out of Indianapolis, so he made it to the national scene, and you want to bring him back when he's doing the most work he could possibly do to oppress us? How does that say
right.
about
He did
you?
not help Indianapolis. I don't know if people
At
realize
all. But they was marching with him before he became vice president.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They was all in his pocket. So it's like, again, you're posturing, you're doing all this stuff for the wrong reasons. You have people in the community that are calling foul, and you're not listening to them. You're a self-appointed community leader with no accountability to the community. What's that say? So when we say, the emperor is naked, and we want somebody better in that position, you can't be mad. You did
Right.
that to yourself.
See, here's one thing that we talk, about this too. I mean, I think the main thing that we have to do is change our perspective on politics.
Everything.
Because, the reason why, man, I say that is because on one hand, we, as a people, we say that the government is not for us, but yet we continue to vote for a party that makes us dependent on government. So, which is a reason why our neighborhoods are the way that they look, because, think about it. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, whatever. If you're given everything, quote unquote, free health care, free food, free housing, you're not going to want to work. So when you're not working, those tax dollars cannot go into that neighborhood that you live in. So that's why when you go on 34th and Emerson, there's there's potholes everywhere.
It's too traditional.
Right.
Yeah, but that gets back to the whole, the first part where we were talking about integration and segregation, and would the neighborhoods look like that if we were still segregated, right? Because then, from what my grandparents told me, there were businesses everywhere. But when you have integration, and then now you allow different people to come into these same areas, and they can open up their business and get the money from us, and then take that money and invest in their own areas. And see, we don't do that because our mindset on politics has totally shifted. Which so I mean, so what do you guys think on that?
There's some insidious stuff at play too. Like, you got to think about it. So even the way that the redistricting has been done, even the way that the taxes are distributed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The taxes that you pay on the area where you live don't go to the schools where your children are going. You know what I mean? It's where you work. So the money that you're making, the money that we could potentially be putting back into our own communities is going out, not in.
Yeah.
So when it was segregated, you could potentially have an all-black neighborhood where white folks didn't want to live, and it's like, okay, they can keep that money there. You can use whatever money you got to take care of whatever it is you need.
Right.
But now it's like, okay, well, this is city money, so you live here, so we're going to take it out here where it's needed. Oh, we need to fix up downtown because that's going to improve tourism. Well, forget the fact that down my street ain't no street lights. We ain't got no sidewalks. You know what I mean? That's not a priority.
Yeah, but if more people worked, or if they owned something and they generated more money, then they could have more leverage.
But you know what's so interesting? Because you talked about the swimming pool, right?
Right.
So we might know somebody that could fix the swimming pool.
Right.
You know, if somebody just went down there and fixed the seals on the swimming pool, what would happen to them?
Somebody just fixed it.
You know what I'm saying? If somebody just decided they was going to go there and fix it, that's going to repair the fence, or that's going to repair the swimming pool, what would happen?
Oh man.
Probably the rest.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be something that would come back on them. So even when we have the tools to be able to fix our own environment, we're penalized for it.
Right.
Because we don't have ownership in none of it.
Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what is your take?
That's a good point.
So and I'll ask you guys this, man. I mean, have you guys heard of Code? It's called Code Intel Pro.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that, and how it is, with us right now? Because you know what, man. I mean, the funny thing, when I think of COINTEL Pro, I think about Colin Kaepernick.
My phone might be tapped right now. You got me. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, one person that comes to mind is Colin Kaepernick.
There's a lot of people that come to mind. I don't even have to go to Colin Kaepernick. You know how many of the activists from Ferguson are now dead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
It's
that.
not a coincidence they were all found
Killed the
murdered
same
in
way.
their car. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when you start to think about like I said, America doesn't want black folks being too free. There's a reason why our political figures who were murdered. It's because they were building coalitions. They had mastered interest conversions. They had got to the point where they had the ear of the people. Anytime that you have someone who is bringing truth to light and speaking about it unapologetically and without fear, they're going to make themselves a target of the government.
And that's why I think of Kaepernick.
But Kaepernick,
Just like modern, like the most recent, he comes to mind.
he took advantage of his platform brilliantly. I will say that. Me and my father got into an argument about this earlier. He's like, what he should have did was not made himself a target. What he should have did is said the whole team is going to kneel with him. Then they couldn't have isolated him because that would have stuck him out.
Respect
No,
to your
he
father,
did
but
the
that's
right
that
thing.
older logic I'm talking
But
about.
you see what I'm saying? But that's
did
what
the
I'm
right
saying.
thing.
Like, he took a stand on his own. Like, I was talking to Jeff Johnson for BT. Remember Uncle Jeff or Cousin Jeff,
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
He was like, you don't need 50 million people standing behind you. As long as you one person standing on a soapbox by yourself speaking truth, that's all that's necessary.
All day.
But, you know what I mean? COINTEL Pro, you know what I mean? FBI, local police, all that type of stuff. They will find ways to disrupt. They will find ways to compromise you. They will find ways to make sure that your upward mobility is impaired.
Because they're looking at it as a gang, which is why they try to label Black Lives Matter something bad. And now all these people are
Anything
running with
that
this
was-
logic that it's a bad organization when it's not.
How you label Black
Same
Lives
way-
Matter a
Same way
terrorist
they did
group?
with the Black Panthers.
Well, you mean Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group, but the KKK ain't?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But
Like, what hate crimes has Black Lives Matter done? It's because we living free. We living unapologetically.
Exactly.
You shoot the man that they got that iconic image of throwing the gas canister back at the SWAT teams.
Right.
He was found murdered. But they act like he was doing it out of aggression. They shot it at kids.
Wow.
He was throwing it out of the way at kids.
Right.
So you have people who don't care about the community, don't care about youth, don't care about babies.
Right.
He's saving their lives, and he's on the attack.
Right.
because they can control the narrative.
They control the
Exactly.
narrative. They control the
Exactly.
stories. They control what gets out.
They
You know
control
what
the
I mean?
dollars.
Dude.
Yeah.
So, that's why I tell people when we're talking about liberation, you have to be strategic. We can't afford to be sloppy.
You can't.
You know what I mean?
You have to be independent.
We could go and do the same things that these old revolutionaries did, but you have to look at it beyond the snapshot that we've been
Right.
given.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you look at Bobby Seale, who he was when the Black Panthers were first initiated versus who he was when he ran for political office versus who he is now, you'll get a complete viewpoint of what he would have done differently. But no, they just want to be the ones in the berets walking around with the guns.
Right.
But he evolved beyond that. Folks want to talk about Malcolm X when he was debating, Bayard Rustin.
Right.
But he was completely different when he came back from Mecca.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
So you have to look at the evolution of these people.
Right.
We got to a point where by the end of his life, Huey P. Newton didn't want to be militant. He said we need to grow our own food. We need to feed our communities. We need to
he
educate
grew and he understood.
because we were controlling it.
Right.
As long as we're controlling it, that's more of a threat than us having any type of guns. It's the
Exactly.
knowledge that they don't want us to have.
Exactly.
It's the freedom that they don't want us to have.
Right.
Exactly.
That's where we got to get to. We don't
Yes.
need no DPW to clean up our neighborhoods. We got our
Right.
own cleanup crew.
We can do it
We don't
ourselves.
need nobody to educate our babies. We got that.
Right.
We
Start
don't
our
need
own
no
businesses.
We
You
don't,
know
need,
what I'm
we,
saying?
don't, we don't need y'all feeding us from the restaurant. We feed ourselves.
We got
Exactly.
our own
Food.
urban gardens. We got our
Yeah.
own restaurants. When we get to that space, dude, they will go bonkers. That's when the war's gonna pop off. This is nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah.
community driven.
This is nothing.
As long as they can keep our minds tricked to depend on them,
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, man, we need to switch our political views, man. Period.
There needs to be another political party created because they're all tainted right now with,
yeah.
We
and
need to
seizing
abandon
different things.
We need to abandon respectability politics. Period. At
Man.
what point in history has politics served our best interests?
None.
We need to turn to
None.
the community. We need to turn
Other
to each
than
other.
other than taking, I would rather have $100 and have 10% taken out, so I can take the other, the 90 and invest in my house, invest in businesses,
Absolutely.
as opposed to like having $100
That
and
would
have
be
like
amazing.
$35 taken
if
out.
Like
You know
I
what
know
I'm
there's
saying?
a bank, right? There's what is it bank in Atlanta? It's one bank
Yeah.
that
It's a black-owned bank.
What if
Yeah.
what if people just decided that, you know what, I'm going to be a part of, I'll just use a bank as an example, but let's just say you created a bank and we committed ourselves to putting $100 every 2 weeks into your bank, and you invested that back into the community, into buying property, buying land, buying all these different things. Why is it so hard? And just give me some feedback. Why do you think it's so hard for people to gather that instead of thinking like, nah, what are you gonna do with the money? You know what I'm saying? This
It's
is the logic
leadership.
that we have.
It's leadership. Yeah, it's lack of leadership.
Yeah.
Well, even with leadership,
Yeah.
you got somebody like Umar Johnson. You know what I mean? He's a leader in the community. Look how
Right.
much money he's raised.
Right.
He's got all this money. People have given him money.
But he needs to do something and show. He needs to do something and show.
Anything with the money.
I don't give a damn if he started something small like, this unit isn't small, but man, start something small and then you show the progress.
Grow. Start.
Well, he
Yeah.
started
Start
that,
something.
didn't he? Because
No,
when I
he hasn't
first
started anything yet.
when
He
I
hasn't
first
started
seen-
anything
He
yet.
doesn't have a school.
Wow.
He
So,
don't have
but
a
so
charter. He
so
don't have-
so
Right,
like
no,
he
we
can
got
start
time.
something like this, and have I'm just saying this, but like have like 10 students, and then just show the progress. So now in 6 months, now you have 20. Now you have another building or a room.
Now you got a university.
Thank you. And then but just show the growth. Why is he holding on to that? So now you have people saying, man, he ripped people off.
This is
Who knows?
This is a strange thing that happens to the black male. And it happens on all levels, and it usually involves him coming up on a lot of money. So what do you think is happening that black men get to a level where they, Ray Lewis or these guys that now it's, you need to.
I'm not black. I'm OJ.
Okay.
It's like
for
why
real.
does that switch? Why does it switch? There's so many people that are great at what they do, making millions and millions of dollars, but they won't look back.
Look who they surrounded by.
Man, it's
Right.
like-
Once
it's
you get
like-
to a certain
yeah.
level, it's like, okay, so you walking through a set of doors. So the first set of doors got a whole bunch of black folks there. The next set of doors got a few less black folks there. By the time you get to that last door, ain't no more black folks there.
And you got everybody. You got everybody in your ear tell you don't look back. Just
Exactly.
Look forward.
And then you adapt to that new society.
So they tell you you made it.
Point.
So they should be able to do the exact same thing that you did.
Yeah,
you
so
just
they use
keep-
that ladder. So they use that ladder to climb, and then they pull
They
that
pull
ladder
you.
up.
They pull you up, and then
Dude.
they pull that ladder with you.
Not only do they use the ladder, they use us. They
Oh, yeah.
step on us.
Crabs on the barrel.
Who are the people that were supporting him? When OJ was first starting it, he had the most black fan support ever.
In the whole,
Let me tell you
the
something
whole
about
country.
OJ, bro.
He had the
And-
world.
and I mean, look. I go on and on about OJ, but I remember when all that stuff happened back in '95. You know,
Yeah,
being
on the
young,
trial.
I didn't. Yeah, you know, like I didn't know any better.
5
But
years
all the
old.
black people, like But when you live more life, like when he was doing that, he was just had that hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. You still have black people, in the feed. Yeah, I mean, free him. I'm like, I could care less, man. I mean, I could care less,
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Because he gets out and he doesn't acknowledge who has supported him since the '60s, '70s. It's been us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That logic, you get that money, you get to a certain point and you don't look back. Like I was saying, he's surrounded by people that's telling you not to look back, to move forward. That logic is gone. And I hate to say it, but our older generation has to start understanding that they created that logic. Like that there should have been more implementation in teaching, in the 90s. The 80s didn't help. The 80s was really bad for our parents and grand cousins because that was where drugs popped off like crazy. That's where drugs were purposely being placed in American neighborhoods in urban areas to strategically to find the big guy, right? To find the guy that's really pumping it. And like they never got that guy. They got all the guys that they ended up selling it to and giving, what's his name? Ricky Ross, the real Rick Ross. He was one of those guys. Give him drugs, go in the neighborhood, we'll keep pumping you, giving you money till we found the guy that's in Cuba or wherever. They never found that guy. But guess who goes to jail? Rick Ross. See, that they're not only using us in those scenarios, but now the scenarios become a legal scenario where you get to a certain amount. Like, okay, you make it to the NBA, right? You got $30.5 million. You got to hire you a financial advisor. You go buy you a house. You go buy your mom a house. Where do you think that money going? It's going right back to the people that gave it to you.
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying? It makes no sense. And it doesn't mean that you can't live nice and and do what you need to do, but why not create an arena where that money is being channeled into neighborhoods that can – it's too much money floating around for neighborhoods to be looking like they do out on the east side.
But how do you stay rich if everybody's rich? How do you stay wealthy if everybody's wealthy? There's no attainment in that.
Right.
That's what everybody chasing.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
it,
The illusion.
It even boils down to it's like, okay, even if we talking about folks that's like quote unquote broke, you know what I mean? I might have on a Walmart belt, but you got on a Gucci belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
where you get that Gucci belt? Oh man, I ain't telling you.
Right.
Like that separates me from you.
Uh-huh.
So I have to be able to we have gotten to a point where the way that we value ourselves is so low.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that money is the one thing that we chase more than anything. That it's become a problem for our community to be able to propel and to get to a trajectory that we need to be.
Right.
Period.
Right.
That's the one thing that stops us. This love affair with being the best, the love affair with being the only, this island that we have to create around ourselves to say that we made it.
Right.
Because if everybody's there, then what makes me special?
Right. Right. And this is why we need, and all these are very, very good points, but this is why we need to rely on ourselves when it comes to cleaning up our communities, building it back up. Everybody knows a guy who can do landscaping. Everybody knows a guy who can do concrete. Everybody knows a guy who lays bricks and lays floors. Yeah. This is the difference between our community and other communities. Other communities will invest their time. It's not about the money. We can't always look for how much money can I make off of that, How much time do I need to put in? I ain't really got that much time. We got to get away from this logic. We don't make a cent from the gray area. We don't make nothing.
That's real.
This is all voluntary.
Absolutely.
We're dedicating our Tuesday nights and Thursday nights away from our families and away from everybody who supports us in doing this for free. That means that, look, everybody has to do their part. It doesn't matter how much you make off of it. If you do it, and we talked about this before we went live, you do something consistently enough, it's going to pay off in the end. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully that's something that creates, maybe it creates more revenue to reach more people, to get more people on the ship and get more people in the boat. The money, it has to go back out. If we get money, we don't want to hang on to it. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to pump it into the community.
Yeah.
We're
Redistribution
going
of
to pump
wealth.
it into programs that really need it. So we are obligated individually as people to do our part. And our part is just to stop thinking about ourselves. And that doesn't mean that you can't get to a level where you can sustain yourself.
Absolutely.
I'll say that. I don't want to put anybody in a position where they can't sustain themselves and they sustaining everybody else. It's not a good equation. Sustain yourself. Get educated. Understand. Get your credit together. Understand business. Understand finance. Help your family members. Sustain yourself. And then once you sustain yourself, and I'm talking about where you can save money, where you can help other people, give your time. We're obligated. Yeah. I've been blessed. I came from the worst parts of Chicago, born and raised out of Chicago, Cook County. And my mother brought me here to get us out of that environment. And I've been living here in Indianapolis ever since, since I was 10 years old. Bless her heart for that. I'm glad she did that. I could be dead today, you know what I'm saying? But looking at where I came from, we got here because we struggled, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nice all the way up through high school. So I done got to a point now where I've been blessed financially and got educated. Now I am putting my time and my resources back into my community.
Absolutely.
That's what we have to do. We owe that to our culture.
Yeah, some people don't understand that they can even start now. You feel me?
Absolutely.
Some people they feel like they do like I got to get to this certain point in life before I start doing this. You can start now with volunteering. It don't cost to volunteer.
It be small.
Absolutely.
It be something
Thank
small.
you. Everything that exists started small and grew to something. Grew large, grew larger. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
And what you just said, man, makes so much sense. I mean, you can start from where you are. I mean, don't just say, well, I don't have this much money yet, so I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like what he was saying, like when we created this whole platform, there was a little bit of fear, there was a little bit of doubt there, but our mindset was we need to create something that's going to benefit others, man. It's going to help because that's the core of what I am and what he is. Yeah. We literally wear our hearts on our sleeves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you said, we don't get a dime, man, from this. But the enjoyment of if we can reach one person with you guys or whoever with what we are saying and doing, that is worth doing this every day, doing it every Tuesday, every Thursday. And it just,
people just too comfortable with being normalized.
Yeah.
Right. And we got to get away from that. A lot of people are afraid of change.
Right.
They afraid to be unusual.
Right.
So
normal has not saved us. Every stage in history, slavery was normal.
Right.
Jim Crow was normal. Lynching was normal. You know what I mean? We have to reject normal. We have to disrupt normal. We have to look at normal as the enemy. Right. We get comfortable in these stations where we're still oppressed. So, and that's one of the reasons why I always joke about,
people afraid to be uncomfortable.
Well, I mean, the civil rights movement. We got complacent and comfortable with asking folks to treat us civil. You can treat us civil and still not respect us. Yeah, exactly. You can treat us civil and still not make sure that we're protected.
That's a good point.
We chased equality and forgot about equity, and then we don't get equity with anybody else, and we don't have equity amongst each other.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You know what, man?
True story.
I remember when I played basketball in college, man, and I mean, the training that I used to go through, I'm like, God, man, like, how can I get through this, man? And my coach would say this, man, a lot. He said, man, you have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. So the more it became repetitive, it didn't bother me.
Discomfort is a sign of growth.
Work ethic.
Yeah. It's like plants, you know what I mean? Plants start to look a certain way because they're uncomfortable. That means they've outgrown their pot.
Exactly.
You ready to move.
Right.
That's what you need. You have to lean into discomfort. That's how you know that you're growing. That's how you know you're ready for the next phase.
Absolutely.
Man,
wow.
Good point. So what we do, with this cleanup?
Right. Where do we start? You guys have already been in the street doing this, and we're not experts at this. Right. Our job is to bring a discussion about, and let's see how we can form this up, because we're going to obligate ourselves to be the media, whatever you guys need in regards to promoting this.
Yeah.
Because it needs to happen.
Man, we're gonna get out there with y'all.
You know what?
Like real.
like Ace got the model. You know what I mean? Like you know. He was just, collecting, like tools and, yard work and stuff like that. I hooked him up with a battery.
Whacker.
Yeah, weed whacker and stuff like that. But, he can always get some more tools. But you know what's so great? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know how many black, like, landscapers that there are out here?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, we could get all the black landscapers together and donate their time and just go to a different area every weekend. And we could knock it out, like,
Right.
What areas,
square
man, are
blocks.
What areas are you tackling now?
Far East Side.
The
40 like where? Like
That's what we
42nd and Post and like 38th and Post area.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a good area.
I used to live. Well, I mean, we both did.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to live in Postbrook.
Rosebrook,
yeah,
man.
Sudden
okay.
Place, Sudden Death.
Yeah, that's
just
where I
talk-
grew up.
Sudden Death, right across the street,
Yeah.
man.
We just tackled the neighborhood. We just actually tackled the house a couple streets down from that. Was our first house was actually across the street from a church. Our first abandoned house.
Right on Baker. 42nd and Baker.
Right there on the corner. It's right. The church they like it just got cut yesterday, but this house right across the street is looking nasty. Like why couldn't y'all come? Like I said, why couldn't you get somebody to come over to volunteer their time to come cut this grass to make the neighborhood look better?
Right.
And we cut it on a Sunday too.
Yeah, we cut it on Sunday. Yeah, so it's like they should have
They
had
rode right
somebody.
past us.
They should have had somebody come over there and take care of that to make sure the neighborhood is looking not just your area, but this neighborhood. Like this is supposed to be a community thing. It's not shouldn't be just about this is my church, or this is my property, so this is all I worry about. Nah, it should be this is the church is just inside of this community. This is a part of the community, so we should all be taking care of all this together.
Right, isn't that crazy? You go in the neighborhood and you see a well, and not knocking business. Some business owners take pride in their areas and whatnot, but we have to look at that and say, why is this building so beautiful? I mean, the grass is cut, and then you have like houses full of trash, up and down the street, gates in line. It's just. It's bad, like we were saying earlier. People gonna roll past and throw stuff out the window because that's where the trash goes.
We gotta hold them accountable, man.
Right.
We can't just hold our own residents accountable. We gotta hold the businesses and churches accountable
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We one thing we got to get them involved too. We got the business and the church. We want to get them involved too because
Man,
like I
knock
said,
on their doors.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
You know,
straight
bang
up.
on those doors.
Yeah,
Say,
'cause
listen, y'all supposed to be a pillar of the
the-
whole community, man.
Exactly.
Why y'all get out here, man, and help us?
It's
Cause
almost
like
like we need a commitment.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like somebody to put some, you know how like, during RIFRA we had everybody putting on those signs on the business door say everybody is welcome here. Any welcomes all.
Right.
We had a similar movement where we just had say everybody saying, you know what I mean? Like we're taking responsibility for this community. We're each going to come outside of our homes on a regular basis and just clean up the trash in
There
our
it is.
areas. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
There
so
it
the
is.
community becomes responsible. We have neighborhood watches. We don't ever have neighborhood cleanups in
Right,
the same
right.
way. So we say we're watching out, make sure nobody else is breaking into each other's houses. We're going to watch out, make sure everybody's houses look nice.
I really hope the 10-Point Coalition is listening to this because it's
They
just
ain't
not
listening,
about
'cause I'm on
fighting.
here.
It's just not about fighting crime. These programs, what we talking about?
It's linked.
Putting the resources together
Listen.
to be able to team up. Like Nextdoor, right? Nextdoor is an app, right? If you everybody know about the Nextdoor
Yeah.
app. Why? Because they're out there in the neighborhoods getting you to sign up for it.
Right.
So let's do this. We get somebody to sign up. Create an app. Project Cleanup, right?
Right.
This is just the start. This is just discussion. We get somebody to create an app. We go into neighborhoods and say, hey, we want to know if you wanted to be a part of Project Cleanup. If you can, get on this app. You're going to get updated every time we're out here together corralling up to clean up
It
neighborhoods.
don't even have to be an ad. We could just get a simple email where we just reach out to everybody or just get.
But everybody don't got email.
Everybody
I mean,
ain't got a
it go-
smartphone.
Everybody got
It go-
cell
Everybody
phones.
ain't got
it go-
a
it-
smartphone either, yeah.
It goes back to getting door to door.
You know what I
Grassroots.
mean?
Grassroots
Right.
is the key.
Grassroots,
Right.
man.
Even if you got
Build
a
those
yard sign that you
relationships.
put in your yard.
Right.
You know, everybody
There
get
it
a
is.
yard sign. I got
Right.
a yard sign. I'm part of this neighborhood cleanup. You know what I
Right.
mean? These are the days of the week that we're going to do it. Boom. Every neighborhood may be different.
Right.
But there's a couple of things I need people to realize. Number one, 10 Point does not fight crime. They're not Batman. They're not the Justice League. They in no way, shape, or form
But they
stop
getting that
crime.
Batman and crime fighting money.
Listen, they almost on Bruce Wayne levels. But here's the other component of it. The whole neighborhood cleanup aspect, it has a direct link with crime.
Right.
Yes.
Legit. So
Very.
you talk about broken windows theory. You're talking about how, there's a direct causation between neighborhoods that are disenfranchised, that are in dilapidated positions and conditions, and the elevated nature of crime. The
Right.
same way that there's a correlation between poverty and crime. So once you start to impact those types of environments, once you start to impact those types of factors, then you can start seeing a change happen. That's where it starts.
Absolutely.
Also,
That's
just,
that root causes.
also
Absolutely.
just putting together that coalition,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like you go down 42nd, man, One of the areas we have found that is a problem is the gas stations.
Oh yeah.
You know,
So what's the problem with the gas stations?
it's dirty.
It's dirty.
The grass you need to be
Concrete needs to be a
waxed,
pressure
tires
wash.
need
They
to
get
be
that
pressure
gas.
washed.
They get that gas pumped in every week
But-
from the gas truck to
but-
keep that money flowing, but they don't clean up the
But I
area.
want to ask you something. And now, who owns that gas station though?
We know who owns it.
Okay, so I'm
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
us. It's not
I'm
us.
sorry. I wouldn't worry about cleaning no gas station.
Right.
But we need to start holding them accountable too, though.
Exactly.
We gotta hold them accountable.
Yeah,
It's in our,
They are
it's
part
in
of
our community.
Yeah, they.
Hey,
like I
but then
said,
they need to do it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta
they
force.
force.
That's why I said build
Exactly.
that coalition. We force them to clean up that area, or
Absolutely,
they
yeah.
gotta pay our youth to come up there and clean it.
Well, not only that, but we're realizing
Because
a
they're
lot
not
of these,
forced to do it because they see everything else outside of that gas station is dirty
Well, I
and
mean,
filthy.
it,
so
it
they're like,
blends
well,
in, but it
yeah,
goes beyond even
exactly.
the environmental piece. Like we got a lot of these foreign-owned gas stations that are in the middle of food deserts, where that's the closest place that anybody can buy food, right?
Right.
But you can go to some of these other gas stations, and they've got Avion and Smart Water and everything else like that. They got healthy options that you can buy,
Right.
but they put the
Right.
saltiest, most destructive foods that they possibly can, and we can hold them accountable for even that stuff.
Right.
So if we ain't got a grocery store, at least you can put some healthy options in the store that can edify the community. We can hold
Right.
them accountable for a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
But we speak up about everything else that matters.
Right.
And then we ain't got no sidewalks.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
and that goes into people getting hit and run, hit
Right.
and run.
Right, all the time because guys are walking up and down the street. So we know what works needs to be done. We need to continue having this discussion. This is going to be something that we need to build out over time, you know. And I want you guys to come back and let's keep building and figuring this out. We got to figure this out for the sake of our community and for the sake of getting these neighborhoods looking back together. Because when someone is living in a neighborhood that looks good, they treat it good. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way you gonna go to Fisher's and your house gonna be the only one that don't look good because you want your house to look good. We need to treat our neighborhoods like that.
Yeah, and we need to treat our people like that.
Absolutely.
So the move is, so y'all gonna come play flag football, and then
There
we're
we
gonna have
go.
everybody come bring them books.
There we go.
And then when they come in, we just have them sign up for the neighborhood cleanup,
There it
figure
is.
out what they zip code is, and then start organizing from there.
So
You
talk
get
about that
everybody-
a little bit because this is just coming to fruition
We just
like, tonight.
we just
Yeah.
talk about that
Okay.
today.
like less than an hour ago.
Yeah.
So that.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. So what we were saying, so we got all these organizations represented. We've got all these brilliant leaders and tastemakers. And, you know, first and foremost, we got a room full of men. I have to
Absolutely.
shout out all of the women who are doing the work consistently. They don't
Absolutely.
do nearly
Shout out
enough
to the
shot.
women.
All the women.
You know,
love
all
y'all.
of
Shout
our
out to
sisters
Lenya
out
Moore,
here, everybody who's out here doing work. You know what I mean? A lot of them are tuned in right now, but a lot of them are just unsung heroes and out here
Absolutely.
doing, you know, the real work
Yep.
because they're always looking for that charismatic black male. So shout
Yep.
out to them first and foremost.
Yep.
And even those organizations, we've got all these brilliant organizations. Let's get together. You know what I mean? Like it could be our own little hood classic.
Okay.
Do a flag football game. Ace is trying to get these books together for this youth library. You know what I mean? We don't need money. It's not about money all the time, but the most valuable commodity that we can gain is knowledge. So
There
if
it
we
is.
could get people to come in and their mission is books, we get our teams together, we have a nice day, we play some flag football, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Get some nice competition, get some healthy. You was talking about, you know, having basketball courts out. Hey, what's healthier than having some kids running around ripping flags off of people trying
Absolutely.
to get that next
Right,
goal?
right.
But at the same time, if we got a groundswell of people, we could tell them, hey, these are some things that we plan on doing. This is how we can roll this thing out. Where do you live? Have some folks walking around with some clipboards, get some information, whether they're doing it on an iPad or a cell phone, what
Absolutely.
have you. Gather the
Everybody
data.
that, everybody
Get
that
some
comes
surveys.
We
in.
gotta do some surveying.
Hey,
Survey.
man,
Absolutely.
get the information together, figure out where everybody is, and then start making moves.
Let's
you
get
know
to
what
the
I mean?
table and let's start. Hey, like you said, figure out how can we get to come together. Like also, like I said, get the community involved too. Like see who even want to get involved with this too.
Yeah.
Who actually want to
Yeah.
be who want to be at the table with this? Because some people they probably like I want to come and actually like talk. Cause we can't just say, well, we at the table, so like y'all ideas don't matter. Some people in the community they actually have good ideas,
point,
like,
man.
Absolutely.
but you would never know because you never invite them to the table to hear
Right,
their ideas.
yeah,
Some
right.
they just like I just need feel me just a little help.
Right.
I need a little push them, or I just need the right resource. So
Right.
we tell them we come to the table with us, so you can sit down, we can talk about it. You never know. They inside the community too, so they going through it. So what they saying, of course, gonna be some Bible to the community because they also need to help themselves out. So we hearing from the people, and we bringing the people to the table.
Sometimes the
And
table's
this-
not
and-
big enough. You need to open the floor.
And,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
can come.
Yeah.
It can start off as a small thing we do, right? But consistency is the key.
Right. Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely, man.
Okay. So I'm just throwing this out there. Everybody that got a gray area T-shirt out there, y'all on our team.
Oh,
I
see,
just
look,
gonna
y'all
call
already
that out right
recruiting.
now.
I told y'all, I'm about to make this drive up to IU.
gotta-
I'm gonna get all the football players on team.
Oh,
Don't sleep.
man.
It's going down.
Going straight to 42nd and post.
Hey,
Get all my OGs.
everybody get ready to get your emergency cards out next day.
Man, 'cause you know some people man gonna be hurting, man. Like, hey,
Hey, we gonna need a
hamstring, man,
whole-
like me.
We're gonna need a whole lot of Bengay, a whole lot of ice.
Biofreeze, ice,
Gee.
ibuprofen.
Hey, I'm calling you out. Oyas, we need you to come out there and
That's
serve
what I
some
was about
food,
to
do
say,
some
man.
concessions.
We need some
Yeah.
fresh products
Some
out
fresh,
there.
some
we
fresh
need-
food out there for our youth.
Miss
Let's
Miss
do it,
P,
man.
For us.
Elephant
West
Garden.
Montgomery. Yo, man, look.
Beyond
let's
Organic.
do it at West Montgomery Park.
Hey, man, if y'all look, I'm gonna tell you the way that I do things. If y'all got a location and a date,
What?
it's done.
West Montgomery Park. There you go.
Y'all, no, wait a minute. Y'all heard that. Dominic Dorsey said if y'all got a location and a date, it's done.
West Montgomery
All right,
Park.
so-
Listen, West
Look.
Montgomery Park.
We just need somebody to say that we got the space. They ain't gonna hassle us. Like, cause look, we do things. You know, we did that whole block party. There wasn't no police
Shout out to the
static.
block party.
There
the,
wasn't
Hey,
no
the
issues.
black
I
owned
gotta-
business block party too. Shout out.
Yeah, getting West Montgomery, that's easy.
Yeah.
Because I know the director of any parks.
There we
Okay,
go.
is that an
There you go.
area? We got to think about this too. And we
That's
always
where
talk
I
about
grew up at.
strategic planning.
That's where I
We
grew
got
up
to think
at.
about this too. We have to make sure that people are going to be safe
Yep.
and that people are coming in structurally so that we can capture all the
Yo,
information.
man, God is the foundation, bro.
So my suggestion
We'll be fine over there.
is for us to get a place that is fenced in, that has stands. And we mentioned a middle school or some schools accommodate that already because they have those. If we can get a school or something to donate their stadium to this project where, I mean, come on, books. We're doing this for books.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no cash
There's
exchange.
no money involved.
So,
I mean, we could reach out to Tabernacle. They got a whole
Right.
football field.
hey, you know,
Stands
whatever,
and out.
Yeah.
however we can do it
that'd
in
be
a,
cool.
in a,
But
in
the
a-
reason why, I was saying a park like that is because that area needs love, man. I mean, every
and
area
I mean,
does.
it's a
I
lot
agree
of
with that, but we have
and,
to.
a lot of
it's
areas.
open too, and like the whole safety part. I mean, if people see people doing, I don't. Come on, man. Look,
No,
I mean,
no. I'm thinking about this. Not only safety, but structure, because we are trying to capture information from people so that we can do the project cleanup and so that we can get the library together. It's pertinent that we keep these people's information so that we can later bring them back in case another event
Yeah,
comes.
we can do that
when
too.
when I'm speaking of that, I'm speaking of is doing it in an orderly fashion.
I thought you
Yeah,
were talking about
yeah.
safety because if you go out on one of these fields and it's got chuck holes and dirt, man, I ain't
That
trying
too.
to twist my ankle.
Yeah, that too.
We need to go to
I need
a
a
decent
real
football
field.
field.
Like-
Right.
like-
These
Yeah.
parks don't have decent football fields, so we do need to try to reach out to these schools or churches.
Absolutely.
I need
Absolutely.
the
some
Tabernacle man
lines
would be cool.
because I'm doing 10 Mississippi and blitzing on every last one.
Oh man, here you go.
I mean, we trying to bet.
I'm QB.
Oh, listen.
Listen.
I'm Randy Moss out there,
Look,
bro.
look. When I did it
I'm
when
Moss
I'm
out there.
real,
I'm
when I
catching
did it when
everything.
I'm real, we had a trophy. We can get a trophy for this. We can make this a bragging rights. And we can get
this is a
we
bragging
can,
rights.
We can get you. We can get a
It's
nice little trophy with space where we can put the winning team on there every single year.
Guess
Go
where it's
all
gonna
four
sit at?
sides.
It's
This an
gonna sit
annual.
right
This an
here.
annual thing.
See
It's
now
gonna
you
sit
talking
right
a whole
here.
lot of. It's a whole lot of yin yang being
It's gonna
talked
sit right here in the
We
gray
gonna-
area.
Who on your team don't sleep?
Somebody-
We gonna take it to the don't sleep
Who
headquarters.
on your
Montgomery, Gardner Park, Arlington. No, I'm just reading what some of our viewers posted. They posted, some of the places where we can have it at. Douglas Park, Douglas Park. That's a good park.
As long as we can do it in a
West
way that,
Montgomery.
you know what I'm saying, like
Hold
we
on,
keep
make
saying,
sense.
make it strategic, make it make sense, because this isn't something that we want to come and go away.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
something that we want to
We
do.
wanna
repeatedly.
continue to do. We
It'd
got
be
Arlington, look,
annual.
somebody said
Right.
Arlington
It'd be annual.
High
Arlington
School.
High School.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
the
that's a
I
good
can
one.
get Arlington High.
Gardner Park too.
First annual hood classic.
John Marshall.
First annual hood class.
There it
First
is.
annual hood classic.
I mean, if we
flag
do it at a
football
park,
game.
we could do it. We could be a combination though.
This flag football, right? I don't want nobody out there
We-
tackling now, trying to
and it-
relive
and
them
it- and
days.
For the
Listen.
ones who can't play football, flag football, we should have a kickball tournament going on or something.
Oh, that's not the women. A lot of the women would want to
That's
do
right.
Hey,
kickball
But you
things.
know what?
hey, the
Hey,
kickball man would be
I know
proud.
some women get
Hey.
some
Women
flag
can play
football.
flag
Yeah.
football.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
women
I
get
know
some
some
flag
women with an
football.
arm. I know
Yeah,
some
yeah.
women with some
Oh,
wheels.
yeah?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's
Oh,
co-ed.
man.
We ain't
Yeah,
tackling out
it
here.
can be co-ed. It can be a co-ed.
It's definitely
That's what's
co-ed,
up.
Yeah.
Yo, man, Arlington.
but have alternatives.
You know what I mean? My sister got an arm, man. She might like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's going down out here. We gonna be real strategic. Like I'm about to do some recruitment after this.
I can reach out to Arlington High School tomorrow.
Yeah, man, please do, man. This been good, bro.
We get a date.
This discussion, man, been good.
This
bro.
how it need to be. Environments like this is what we need to. It need to be a lot of assets of environments like this. Because imagine like we all could come together, just us and many more could come together and put together ideas and events and plans like this. That's just what. But I'm glad that y'all even got this environment open for that, because that's what we need.
Appreciate
this
that,
platform
man.
that we need. This is what we need to come together with ideas for us brothers to come together and put together stuff like this.
It take the community leaders to come together. We want the community to come together.
Yeah, man,
Absolutely,
that,
and
man.
this is why we created this platform, because if you look at it, how long would it take you to get in touch with somebody at WTHR or Fox 59 just to shed light on your projects or what you're trying to do?
Right.
It's just not enough media
much of a
service out
hassle.
there. Yeah, so so we're trying to be a part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to be the only solution.
Right.
We want people to sprout up like this, so we can't be everywhere. It's only a couple of guys in here, and Ebony helping us out, and I mean that's really all.
Shout out to Ebony.
Shout
What's
out
up,
to
sis?
Ebony for being a boss out here. But the thing is, it's like
Making moves, man.
it's like we don't want to be the only ones doing this. We're just setting the standard. Like Dominic has set the standard. Like
No,
look,
don't
listen
get me
to
in
me.
trouble out here,
Look,
man.
I don't want to get you in trouble, but I'm telling you, like I didn't.
He moves well, man.
The
I mean,
dude, he does things strategically, you know what I'm saying, and he does it professionally, and it makes sense, So however he's doing it, I think that's a standard for how you put on events or gather things and put them together. Corral is a prime example of how you bring your resources in and everybody work well together. So that's all I'm saying is like we need more platforms like that.
Absolutely.
More programs, more foundations, and we need these foundations need to come together and put on events like we're talking about, like the flag football thing.
Bring together all our strengths and all our ideas.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and stop and don't do it to compete with somebody, man.
Just to
I mean,
have fun
God,
with
yeah.
the community. We are trying to have.
Now we're
have
gonna
a
have
good
that
time.
trophy, so there's gonna be
Yeah.
some competition on
No,
that
that
field.
part.
But
I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. If somebody wants to create a platform like this,
Yeah.
I mean, just do it with sincerity. Don't do it to try
Absolutely.
to compete and say, hey, mine is better than theirs. Come on, man. Like, we have to unify, period.
I honestly think that's what's going to be the key to saving us, legitimately, is creating
sure.
our own institutions and finding ways to save ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the most beautiful thing about it. We got a Liberation Weekend. We got a Juneteenth. We got, Ross Foundation gives out, Christmas gifts in December. You know what I mean? AIDS Project is giving kids jobs.
Nice, man.
You got
Nice.
an alternative form of media. You know what I mean? You've got Bloom Project out here doing regular things with the
Absolutely.
youth. You've got, Ladies Under Construction doing regular things with the youth. You've got a fully functioning farm in the middle of the hood, in the middle of, over there at Flanner
Cosby.
House. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing our own thing. That's the revolution. That's what's taking
Absolutely.
place. But, you know what I mean? We always sit here, dreamers dream all day long. It's when it comes action that
To
it becomes
fruition.
dangerous.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
also, man, I want to invite you guys to extend an invitation to our Youth Matters Peace March, October 7th.
Okay. October 7th.
It'd be
October
from 38th and Sherman to Evandale Meadows YMCA.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically creating that
What time?
platform for the youth to have a voice.
Okay.
What time that day?
12.
Okay.
Please send us an email.
Yeah.
with
Email
that.
us, man.
And we're gonna put it on the calendar. We're gonna try to be there. Cause see, that's the thing with us too. Is like we just been doing this since January,
Yeah.
and just
January
getting our
1st.
feet wet in
And doing
media.
a great job.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thanks,
and
bro.
so
Great
now
job.
we're ready to start putting our feet on the ground and getting out there and really being a part of the events. And to do that, we need to know about them. So again, we're not experts at that. So if y'all let us know, we're gonna try our best to get out there.
I'm gonna send you an email this Saturday. Brandon Warren from Warren Central. He was actually good friends with Angel and Dijon Anderson.
Okay.
Okay.
They have this organization, We Live Indie. And Don't Sleep is helping out. Shout out to Krista Frazier, who is Dijon Anderson's mother, and several other talented ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Randall, who was our community liaison, he's been working with Brandon Warren as well. They've got a peace
Bloom
march.
Project. Shout out to Arnetta
Bloom
Scruggs. I
Project.
see you
Shout
out there.
to Arnetta. They actually got a peace march that's going to be coming up this Saturday, and they're going to have a stop location there at the Juvenile Center, where they're going to have some speakers, and they're actually going to have a community fair where they're going to be giving out resources to the community there across the street at the I think it's Galilee Church. Awesome. So that'll be this Saturday.
Okay.
So I'll send y'all information. I'll put the flyer on y'all's page.
Okay.
But yeah, man, we just need more avenues to do this type of work and
Absolutely.
continue to support one another and be there for one another.
That's it, man. That's it. This is what it's going to take. And we can sit around and wait on people to do stuff all day, or we can do it ourselves.
We have to do it.
We have to do it. Ain't no sitting around waiting. We got to
Right.
do it ourselves. Whatever it is, we gotta have our own to get to help our own out. Because we can only help us out. We all we got.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen.
Absolutely. So what we do now is closing remarks, man, and basically this is our plea to the people. Obviously, we're gonna touch on we need to do this flag football thing. All
Don't do this
right.
flag
If you got an
football thing.
organization
Team
out
don't
there
sleep.
that's out there helping people, let us know. Get in touch with us or any one of the people on this show, and let us know because this is going to evolve. I'm telling you. We probably after tonight we're gonna have a date and a location set.
we got
and we're gonna
jerseys.
go in full promo mode for it. So,
Yep, I can make the jerseys.
all right. So what we do is closing remarks. Just let the people know this is your plea to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. Get in contact with me.
My name is Ace, the founder of the Ace Project, and what I do is I get the youth out here in the communities to get them jobs, to keep them out of trouble, and to give them some money in their pocket to keep them off the streets and from doing any kind of illegal activities to earn some money and to actually show them the importance of actually earning your own money and getting them out here to manage their own money, and also showing them teamwork as they work with each other and come together and learn that everybody really we all on the same page. We need to come together and see that. So we're getting them out here and getting them to eventually become entrepreneurs and figure out what they want to do. That's my whole thing with the ACE Project is keeping the youth busy and keeping them active with lawn care, cleaning out garages, any odd job that you feel that you don't want to do and you feel like you can come out there and do it. You can call us out, and I'm on Facebook, Ace Williams, or you can look on the business page, which is the Ace Project. And if you need anything done, any kind of odd jobs around, and you want the youth to keep them busy, can you please just contact me?
There it is. Ace Project. D. Ross.
I'm D. Ross, founder of the Ross Foundation. Our
Ross.
mission is to create more effective youth activities, repair our communities, and develop healthy leaders. So we do numerous things for mentor groups. We have a mother support group called Mothers Cry, dealing with mothers who lost a child to gun violence. And then also we do a lot of community events. So when we do these community events, we work with the underserved communities and say if they need school supplies or books or whatever, okay, we try to supply them with that, but we also work with them to figure out what barriers is causing them to need it. So we build that sustainability with the families as well. With any event we do, the toy drives, the food drives, anything we do, we try to build that sustainability, and then also these Giddy Kids options.
Awesome. Wow, that's incredible.
My name is Dominic. I sell cars.
Do hair.
Don't do hair. You know what I mean? Babysit all out the same house. So I'm the president and founder of Don't Sleep. Don't Sleep is a local social justice organization. Don't Sleep is an acronym that stands for Deconstructing Oppression Now through Solidarity, Liberation, Equity, Empowerment, and Perseverance. Nice. We were created to do intersectional work within the Black Lives Movement, but we specialize in, again, interest convergence. So issues that impact and impair the upper mobility of Black communities also impact and impair, the LGBTQ community. It also impacts and impairs, the Latino community. There's, systems of oppression that are attacking and plaguing us all. So we can look at reactionary solutions or we can look at proactive root solutions, and that's what we do on a regular basis. So when we're talking about crime, we're talking about issues of food insecurity, we're talking about issues of educational inequity and how we can impact those, disrupt them, and create a system that works for us. So every program that we do, every event that we do is for empowerment, is for increasing community engagement, is for giving individuals a sense of control in an environment of chaos. People, act in outlandish ways to draw attention to an outlandish condition. We can fix that through coalition building. We can fix that through, disrupting, again, what's normal. So, creating things for ourselves, doing for ourselves, supporting one another, everything that they think that Black folks don't do, everything that they think oppressed communities don't do, we do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Amazing.
powerful, man. That's powerful.
He wills.
Hey, man, look, I want to thank you guys, man, for coming.
Yeah.
Problem.
Hey, listen, we're going to have you guys back, man. So, we'll set that up.
After this, set it up.
Post-show. But, yeah, shout out to all the viewers, man. This has been really informative. Just a lot of great minds, in here that are really trying to give back, just really trying to help the communities, man, and, people be more unified, which is, something that is lacking. It's a big thing that is, lacking, that unity component with everyone, especially us. So, I'll just encourage people, man, just to, take accountability, be humble. If you don't know something, man, just ask people. I mean, that's something that we don't like to do. We rather just act like we know everything, and then get pissed off, man, when someone is actually trying to reach us and help us. So just look at your brother as you will see yourself, and let's get united, man. Period.
There it is. There it is. I just, like P. Will said, man, I just want to thank you brothers for coming out. This is always enjoyable for us. You know what I'm saying? Always meeting. Everybody that came on this show has been doing great things. I just want to let y'all know, man, and y'all are a part of that movement of people who are out in the streets, really hitting the ground running and doing things that is going to impact the lives of thousands of people. You know what I'm saying? So, and we just appreciate you guys for coming on here.
Absolutely.
Especially Dominic, man. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, for real.
Shout out to the whole team. Shout out to Satchuel Cole. Shout out to Brandon Randall. Shout out to Tasha Marie, who y'all know.
Absolutely,
been on the show
Tasha
before.
Marie.
Raven Rigel, Star Jones. My whole Don't Sleep team. Eric, Lee, Whitney, everybody. Michelle. They just do great work. They do fantastic work. So I'm blessed to be surrounded by such passionate individuals.
And you guys, man.
Shout out to my wife for letting me do this.
Yeah.
Shout out, man.
Shout out to the women that support us out there.
Yeah.
Man, sitting at home.
Black women are my biggest supporters.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Because that's what they want. They want to see a positive black male do something.
Man, let's talk about that for just a second. See, the women they want leaders, right? You know what I'm saying? And we had this discussion kind of on a relationship show that we did where we was talking to women, and Brittany was here in the corner, and she said, look, I want somebody to tell me to take over the stuff that I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? And not necessarily, because women don't want to be the leaders of the household, you know what I'm saying? They're looking for leaders in that household, which are naturally their helpmates, you know what I'm saying? So whatever your preference is, if you have a helpmate, be that leader to step up for the change that they need. And our women are looking for that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't pave the way to be the men we need to be, who do they have to look forward to look up to, and to follow? You know what I'm saying? So it starts with us.
And the women have to recognize that example that's there.
This may be another show, but it's something that I recognized as a man who's in a relationship, and something I have to check myself about daily. A lot of times we don't trust our women. We don't trust our women. They give us the game, and we try to discredit that or discard that as if it's not for our benefit, it's not for our good. We gotta humble ourselves and listen to our women, because they're helping for a reason. You know what I mean? It's 50-50 for a reason. You know what I mean? So there's leadership, and then there's also knowing when to follow.
Absolutely. Shout out to the women out there. We got y'all.
Shout out to the queens. Shout out to my melanated women.
We got y'all back. Come on now. All right, and so look, shout out to the viewers for always tuning in. Look at that, they didn't share this. Our viewers, man, we got some of the most faithful viewers, man. They just love tuning in,
love y'all,
sharing our feeds and checking out the show, and we just cannot do what we do without you guys. So thank you guys for that, and we will see you guys next week on the Gray Area.
Actions.
Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area, in its naming significance, solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you.